Yeah, it's working. All right. We're live, baby. Let's go. All right. So, normally when I would, like, about 90% of the time when I start a live stream, I will kind of, like, go, like, little shimmy freestyling, you know, kind of get some, positivity stuff up in this bitch, you know, and, you know, that's not going to change anytime soon, but I kind of feel that in regards to this particular issue, I'm going to forego that, and I'm just going to go into kind of a more in-depth and serious thing. So, that's going to be skipped over. So anyways, for all of those that are interested in watching, and sadly, because my old YouTube account was suspended, the people that knew who Southern Israelite was don't actually have access to the ability to know of my new channel, because virtually none of them followed me to Discord. And so most of the people that follow me on my new channel don't know who Southern Israelite is, and the people who did don't know about my new YouTube channel. So that kind of hurts the issue. But anyways, basically, I guess I'm going to have to explain who Drake Shelton is. He is a real person, but, I mean, he's not a nice guy. We'll just say that. He actually looks a lot like Drunken Surfer, as you'll find out. So I'll go ahead and I'll play a clip of him, just to kind of give the people watching this what he looks like and stuff. He basically sounds like a lot like Drunken Surfer. Those of you that are familiar with the Kino Corner stuff, he's a lot like that, as you're about to see. So I'll play a clip of him, kind of as a way to get you to become more familiarized, to kind of familiarize the onlookers about who this guy is. So yeah, this is Drake Shelton, national thought criminal, the most censored, the most feared debater, the top educator in the world. Yeah, this is not a joke, by the way. He literally puts this in his Instagram. You would love to think that this is not, that he's not serious. I mean, you would love to think that by reading this, he can't be serious, but he is. He's completely serious. He literally thinks he is the greatest educator in the world. That's the reason why I use this as like the icon on my channel, because it's so hilarious, dude. And he looks just like Drunken Surfer. He talks just like Drunken Surfer. It's really funny, dude. But Drunken Surfer is actually a pretty nice dude compared to this guy. You may not like Drunken Surfer, and I don't blame you if you don't, because I mean he's a waste of life too. But he's a funny guy. He's a funny kind of laughable guy. A homosexual kind of closet homo guy, but dude, this guy, the only thing they have in common is the looks factor, and they couldn't be further different, dude. So here's a clip of him, and you'll get right away how much of a negative, absolutely how much of a turnoff this guy is for anybody, not just women, but anyone really, especially women too.
So, as I've pointed out for almost 10 years now, the New World Order game plan is taken right from the three-age prophecy of Joachim of Fiore. Obviously, fundamentally, at the most fundamental base level, it's a Gnostic theology that is behind, that controls the New World Order. That Elaine Pagel at the United Nations has confirmed all that. That's obvious. But, you know,
Okay, dude. All you have to do is like just literally watch maybe a minute of this guy, and like for 90% of people, like 90% of people are gonna get turned off by this guy. That's literally what you think that this is a joke. It's not. it's a shame that it wasn't. It's really a shame that this 40-year-old something guy actually believes this stuff, but he actually does. And that's actually the pretty funny part of it. Okay, so Drake Alden Shelton, his thing is that he used to be Eastern Orthodox, right? So, well, he was raised Baptist. So anyways, Drake Shelton was raised in a Southern family. Probably not really too different from me, actually. He was raised in a Southern Baptist family or Presbyterian household. He's from Mississippi. So Drake Shelton was born in Mississippi in about 1980, 1979, 1980. And I think his dad was in the military or something. So his family have moved around across the country. He grew up in Kentucky, actually. I think he grew up in Louisville, Kentucky or whatever, or he grew up in Alabama. But, of course, you know, he moved out and stuff. So, here comes the train. How nice. So anyways, this guy, he's pretty well educated, but I don't know how he got into the conspiracy theories and stuff. According to him, he started getting into it like when he was 17 or whatever. So when he was 18 years old, I think he was involved like with this woman or something. So he was in a relationship with this girl when he started to really get into the conspiracy theory junk. And he was on drugs. And I think that he fell in love with this chick. And she was going to marry him, or she wanted to marry him or something. But she was like a heathen or whatever. She was like a scumbag or whatever. And like she was really into the world, and like he did something, he got saved. Well, he claims he got saved. So he came to Christ, right, and he gave up this girl. And that's apparently when, at least according to him, he got into all these conspiracy theories and all these ideas and concepts and stuff. And that's when he started to really heavily read. And this guy read a lot. Trains are cool. Well, there's one coming by that's especially loud and blows up everything that I fucking say on the camera, so I have to say that I don't like that. But yeah. So yeah, he's basically a guy that looks a lot like Drunken Surfer, but other than the looks, those two couldn't be further apart in terms of personality and character. You know, you might think that Drunken Surfer is not a cool guy, but I can guarantee you that compared to Southern Israelite, Drunken Surfer is a much better person. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely much better than freaking Southern Israelite. So anyways, he got into reading a lot of books, right? He got into a lot of freaking books and read and stuff. And apparently he went to a theological seminary. So from what I understand about Drakey, he went to a theological seminary in a Presbyterian school, and then he went to like become a chef assistant. So he got a chef assistant license or something, and he had just finished that up. And during this time, he was already reading like a lot of stuff about. I don't know if he was reading Eric Phelps yet, but he probably was. Sounds fine so far. Thank you, Bubbles. Hype train. Let's go. So anyways, he finished up his cooking thing, and then he did something to hurt his back. I think he was a bellhop boy. You know what that is? Like a bellhop boy. So like he worked at this job at a hotel where he would pick up, you know, people's luggage and, you know, take it to their rooms and stuff. And apparently he had an accident on his back, and he hurt his back real bad. And so for several years afterwards, he had a lot of back pain. So from what I understand, he got another job or something where he didn't have to do a lot of heavy lifting or whatever. He read a lot of books, and I imagine that's when he got into like Ayn Rand and a lot of these other libertarian stuff. And then from there, he kind of started to read a lot about Southern history. So he's from the South, like me. He's from the American South, although Texas is kind of really more of its own thing. And like, he really is from the South. So I think what happened is he got into like some family history and genealogy, and his great-great-great-grandfather was a Confederate soldier. And then his distant ancestor, his last name is Shelton or whatever. His distant ancestor came over from England to the Commonwealth of Virginia in the really early 1600s. And he really got into the Southern stuff. And he was reading Eric John Phelps or whatever. And he started mixing those ideas together. But Drake was Eastern Orthodox for a while. And when he was Eastern Orthodox, he studied a lot of theology in the Eastern Orthodox Church. I think that's how he started to get into his theological stuff. And then he also went to a Presbyterian seminar, but he was a Presbyterian at that point. Anyways, at some point, Drake Shelton stopped being Eastern Orthodox, and he started calling himself an Anglo-Judaizer. So that's when he decided from studying Eastern Orthodoxy that the Christian church was fundamentally corrupt and that it was full of metaphysics and Neoplatonism. And he decided that after the end of the ante-Nicene church, Christianity was simply too corrupt to continue. So he stopped calling himself a Christian, and that's when he became a Judaizer. The next major thing to happen was that he became a flat earther. Yeah, so that's where this is getting interesting, yeah. So Drake Shelton around 2014 became a flat earther. I'm actually not for sure when or how he got into the flat earth. He was, before that, a geocentric young earther, and then a young round earther, and then he became flat earth or pro-flat earth. He had a debate with Red's Rhetoric, and I have to say that it was pretty bad. I mean, he brought up some pretty good convincing points philosophically, like Drake was much better in the philosophy and the ontology than Red's Rhetoric, but Red's Rhetoric was much more experienced with science and mathematics and physics and stuff. That guy really knows his physics and mathematics, and he pretty much really owned Drake Shelton in that debate. So basically, Drake Shelton was roasted in a flat earth versus round earth debate with Red's Rhetoric. And I would say that that was the beginning of when he turned into this kind of pathological, almost, a psychopath, basically. So from then on, he really studied hardcore about the flat earth and stuff, trying to find virtually every single piece to justify the flat earth concept, or the young flat earth, and the Genesis account of creation, and Noah's flood and stuff. I think that's when he really got into George Stanley Faber, or reading him about the origins of pagan idolatry, and a bunch of other books around the flat earth and stuff. That's basically, I would say, when he really became more of a cult leader. And from then on, I would say that that's when his pathology really got the best of him. So I first got into Drake Shelton myself. I'm not for sure how I first encountered him, but Eric John Phelps, I was already following Eric John Phelps, and I had completely read Vatican Assassins from front to back. It's almost like 5,000 pages long. I mean, it's a really detailed history book. It's like 5,000 pages, so I mean, it's not an easy read. But I read through some of that, and I was reading some other conspiracy theorists. And some channel or something somewhere on YouTube had a thread or like a video about this Drake Shelton and Eric Phelps saying that it's the Jesuits, not the Jews. And I watched that. And they were talking about secret societies, a bunch of secret Masonic societies, and how the Catholic Church and these other fraternal orders tie into all of that. And then they were talking about how the Jews are not really responsible for the problems of the world, that the banking system is run by Catholics, basically. I think that was basically the juxtaposition of that video. So that's how I first came across Drake Shelton. I started following his work. His old blog is gone. It used to be called Light Out of Chaos, and it had like a picture of Queen Elizabeth Tudor, Queen Elizabeth I of England on it. And he said that his family, Shelton, actually protected Queen Elizabeth I when she was trying to flee from conspirators that were trying to assassinate her or something. This was during the reign of Bloody Mary, or the reign of Bloody Mary in the 1550s. And his family actually housed and protected the young Elizabeth Tudor, and he had like a portrait of her up on the blog. I read a lot of his stuff. It was really interesting too, and there's actually still a lot of good articles on there. So he was actually doing a lot of good research about the slave trade and the trade in blacks. And he was saying that the Catholic Stuarts, the Stuarts that were Roman Catholic, actually started up a lot of the English transatlantic slave trade with the British West India Company and the funneling of slaves to the Americas. Now, back then, Drake was saying that the South was trying to not import the slaves. His justification back then was that it was wrong to import these slaves into the southern colonies, and that Virginia and other southern colonies had passed various edicts banning the slave trade, and then the King of England revoked those edicts, and so slavery was forced on the South. He changed his position later to where slavery is a good thing, or where he was claiming that slavery was biblically sound. I'm not making a defense of slavery or nothing here, because I'm just talking about an individual. So I think that pretty much sums up what kind of a person he is. What's so funny about Drake, or Drakey, Draketard, as Lanceteer likes to call him, is that he's actually a little bit African American. He actually has like some African American heritage. He also claimed to me, when I talked to him a long time ago, that on his mother's side, on like his great paternal grandmother's side, on his mother's side of the family, they were actually Jewish immigrants from Eastern Europe. Like, he said that on some line of his family, they were Jewish refugees or Jewish immigrants that escaped from the ghetto or something in Eastern Europe or in Germany or whatever, and came over to America. Okay, first of all, they were not from they were not escaping from the Holocaust. Okay, the Holocaust happened in the 30s and 40s of the 20th century. These Jewish immigrants that Drake Shelton was claiming were his ancestors came over in like the late 18th, early 19th century or something. But it's kind of weird that he defends the transatlantic slave trade and the institution of slavery. Very pro-Southern guy. Actually, I think he's a monarchist now. Well, he was a Republican, or he was a neo-Confederate. But Drake was always anti-Thomas Jefferson. I mean, these are based, you know, it's based. I think he's based, but he does have a little bit of African-American heritage and some Jewish heritage on his mother's side somewhere. I can't remember where. He actually did an entire video about it, about his genealogy and stuff. But anyways, yeah, so he's actually, he actually did like a 23andMe, and it's kind of funny. He says, like, this guy's an asshole, dude. He's pushing these lies and stuff about me. I'll get to that in a little bit. Right now, I just want to talk about how this guy is. Pretty mean-spirited dude as well. In Jefferson County, in like, what was it, the state of Tennessee, he was actually put into custody by the police for going around to churches and trying to engage in discussions with people about how all of the problems in modern society are because of the Christian church. So he's a Judaizer, as I've said before. Calls himself a Calvinist Judaizer, Anglo-Judaizer. He actually got into trouble in Jefferson County, Tennessee. The police actually almost arrested him, but I think he was only put into custody. I'll show this right fast. County, Tennessee. Now, I don't really know all the details about this particular incident, but he was always going out and doing street preaching and all this stuff, and the police were being informed about it, and they put up a warning on Facebook about this. Let's see if I can show this right here. So yeah, he was doing some pretty explicitly bad stuff. So this is the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. Attention, Safe Church Task Force members. Drake Shelton, who calls himself the Southern Israelite, visited a church in Dandridge this past Sunday night. He engaged the pastor and members in debate. Mr. Shelton has had a history of visiting churches throughout eastern Tennessee, engaging pastors and members at times, causing disruption and recording their interaction and posting them to YouTube. Mr. Shelton has carried a backpack into services in the past. Mr. Shelton has not committed any crime during these interactions. Security teams should consult with church leadership and have direction in the event Mr. Shelton arrives to attend services. And so that's a picture of him. So looks like he actually got into some trouble with the authorities. Swept. Euro says you're scared of him, bro. No, I just know that he's trying to like push a agenda or something and trying to gaslight me. He's almost as bad as Jay Danks, really, with that kind of shit. Dude, I have argued with those idiots on Plate Gang, and I kind of know how these people act on Discord. Like, it's a step and fetch game, and I know what Euros was trying to do. He was trying to like play the Marty with me being the Cyrax and like trying to come on and like freak everybody out on his show. And he was like trying to get some points out of it at my expense. Like basically get laughs at my expense. Try to make me look like some kind of a Cyrax, mentally ill person, which I'm not. So, you know, why bother? Why show up or even bother? But yes, it's understandable. Also, the guy streamed when I was asleep in bed. Like, I sleep at that hour. But anyways, plainless point. I want to go back to this crap. Anyways, but yeah, so as you can see, like, Southern Israelite isn't really the nicest guy that you could ever be around. Why did you leave my Discord, bro? I didn't. I'm on your Discord. I left the Kino corner. I'm still in your Discord. Bronx's secret server or whatever it's called. I just left that one place because I don't want to engage with those people, dude. I'm just not really that interested in that. But yeah, I'm still in your server, bro. Bronx's secret server. I'm still here. I don't know what you're going on about with that. Anyways, Southern Israelite, as you can probably guess, is not exactly the nicest dude. So how did a guy like me ever get involved with a guy like freaking Southern Israelite? Well, I mean, I was following him for a couple of years. I found out about him like sometime around early 2013. Probably actually 2012. But around 2013, I knew of him, but it kind of took me a while to really follow him. It kind of took me a year to really follow him, and even then, I was never really totally convinced about what he was selling, like the kind of products he was selling and stuff. It looks like he was already writing his books even before I found out who he was. But he wrote most of his books. So in 2015, Drake Shelton wrote a history of the South, or a history of the Counter-Reformation campaign against the South, or something like that. The Counter-Reformation destruction of the South, or whatever. Some weird-ass title like that. I almost bought his book. So he used to have his books online. I read it. And then I thought that, this guy is really smart. Maybe he's got something to contribute. So late in 2015, not really long after he did his debate with Red's Rhetoric and was roasted by Red's Rhetoric, I contacted him. And I said that I wanted to follow his platform or whatever because I was interested in what he was saying. And he was still at that point relatively a nice person. I mean, he wasn't a total douchebag, but I mean, he wasn't like this kind of ignominious LARPer psychopath that he is now. I mean, he considered people, to be equals. He treated people fairly equally. Well, at least white Protestant men anyways, but he wasn't quite the superior, driving, egotistical maniac like he became later. So he seemed really nice. I engaged with him back and forth on the DMs or in PM on YouTube. And then at one point, when he was doing a video, I got real pissed off with him. And I told him, I threatened him or whatever. I kind of threatened his life. And then he said, like, he actually took, like, a picture of what I said. And he interpreted it as a death threat. And later on, he was talking with Omar. Oh, by the way, Omar is this black guy that's his friend. And the crazy ass thing about Omar is that he's very pro-slavery. And he even thinks that most black people should go back into slavery. And he's a black guy, and it's really weird. That's the only time that I've ever seen a black person actually defend the institution of slavery. I've never seen that in my whole life. But anyways, that's another story for another day. But yeah, he was talking to Omar about these two guys. Like, one was an SJW, another was a neo-Nazi, and he said that they both threatened his life, and they were both white people. And he was talking about me. But by the way, I'm not a neo-Nazi. But yeah, he was talking about that. Well, anyways, afterwards, I kind of cut him off. So in 2017, in early 2017, I got back in touch with him again. And I actually was able to finally Skype call him. So for the first time around January of 2017, we Skyped each other and we talked for a while. And it was a pretty good, decent conversation. It was a pretty freaking decent, awesome conversation, but I kind of had to stop early because I had other things that I needed to take care of, and he was going to work. And then maybe about a couple of weeks later, we got in touch again, and I told him that I had serious problems with his theology. He interpreted that as me being an atheist, which is not true. I had issues with his theology, and we kind of got into a bit of an argument and stuff, and he was throwing all of this philosophical mumbo-jumbo at me, really. Hold on a second. I'm going to block this guy here. Okay. Give me a second right fast, bro. I'm not going to tolerate that anymore. Okay, so like he was going on about like how he was throwing all of these philosophical mumbo-jumbo stuff at me. And then he started to talk about how much of a better person he was than I am, how much smarter and stronger he is, and how much more deserving of women that he is than me. Like, by the way, he defends polygamy. You know, he's not a Mormon, but he does defend polygamy, by the way. Like, he does believe the Bible defends polygamy and slavery, and the curse of Ham and all of that. We had some back and forth, and eventually, I called him, or we went over to phone call, and we talked for a while, and he basically said that I was like a faggot or whatever. He started calling me a faggot or some shit like that. Very freaking weird, dude. So we had our back and forth, and then he hanged up on me because I was talking about the possibility. I was talking about the Sumerians and about some stuff about who was that guy that said that aliens founded the Sumerian civilization, or that the Sumerians were created by aliens or whatever? It's some weird thing like that. Oh, Zachariah Stitchin. I was talking about Zachariah Stitchin, and he just said that I was wasting his time. He had to go to work, and he hanged up, and that was it. So really, after that, again, virtually not really any kind of interaction. So in 2019, a couple of years later, a lot of things had changed. I tried to get in touch with him again because I was reading his books. His books were free, or were freely available, and you could actually read most of his books, and I thought it was pretty good stuff. I mean, it's not really exactly the most, the most clairvoyant or relevant stuff. It was just basically him defending the validity of the flat earth and going through various concepts around the existence of the flat earth and a bunch of other stuff. 2017 and 18, I think he was mostly just going on into various theological and flat earth debates and discussions. And he was doing his flat earth encyclopedia at that stage in the game. So I was reading his books, and I sent a message to his Gmail, which is still there. I mean, technically it still exists, but I try to get back in touch with him about like the different meals and stuff. At this point, I decided that I wanted to be a Judaizer myself, and I still consider myself to be a Judaizer. I'll have to explain more about that on a different stream because it simply is going to take up too much time. So I was talking about, that kind of stuff, and we went over we went over the book of Leviticus and the different stuff about the meals and stuff, and basically we both agreed that the Old Testament was still relevant, or the laws of the Old Testament, like the Mosaic Law, the codes of Leviticus and all of that was actually still relevant. The commandments that were given to Noah, to Abraham, to Moses, and to Isaiah and the prophets and stuff, the commandments of the prophets and stuff, we kind of tended to mostly agree that Jesus and the apostles continued with those traditions, and that the Abrahamic law codes were not abandoned by the early church. That the early church was a Judaizer cult, a Nazarene cult that continued to follow the customs of the Old Testament. We were agreeing with the flat earth and with the anti-libertarian stance, but by this point, Drake Shelton did not look at other men as his equal. He had completely changed and become basically a shadow of his former self. And like I said, by this point, he was definitely a pathological narcissist and complete psychopath at this point. Completely committed to his beliefs in the flat earth and in the idea of the Bible and the account of Genesis. In the past, Drake Shelton was more willing to question himself, question his thoughts, and all of that. And that's why I liked him. He was open-minded, and he was actually very philosophical, very well-read, and he didn't try to think that he was superior or better than anyone. Afterwards, he turned into this very self-loathsome, self-serving douchebag that basically just wanted money. Like, instead of trying to give people knowledge or trying to help inform people, he just wanted to get people's money. Like, he just wanted to sell you these crappy books that he made and get money from you, or like force you to pay him money to follow his platform. And he didn't care. Like, he didn't really care at this point anymore about truth, trying to find the absolute truth of things, like trying to find some kind of a moral standard to live by, talking about salvation and Christianity and stuff. Or even Judaism. Like, he completely abandoned that course and just instead focused solely on money and like the merchant mindset. I don't know what happened to him, And by the way, you can make money. The Bible says that you are allowed to have money and you're allowed to be wealthy, but you're not supposed to store up your treasures in the world. For you will have treasures in heaven for you if you are, of course, if you're saved. But anyways, Drake Shelton was not really concerned about what he was doing to prepare for the life thereafter, or the life in the hereafter. He was more focused about what he was doing in this life, which was paying to have sex with prostitutes. So Drake Shelton used to be almost a celibate. Like, he wasn't engaging in the flesh markets, and he wasn't a heavy drinker. It was only later, like after 2019, he started to drink real heavy, and he is an alcoholic, by the way. He used to be pretty celibate and pretty committed to his celibacy and to like waiting to only have sex until marriage. He told me a story about when he was 18 that he had sex with this woman, sex with this girl, or he had sex a few times and he went to parties. And after he got saved, or after allegedly he got saved and became a saved Christian or a saved man of God, he felt really condemned about having sex with these immoral women, and he stopped doing it. Now, like, after 2019, or I'm sorry, at least since 2020, Drake Shelton, like, every week goes and pays a prostitute to have sex with him. So he's become a heavy drinker, and he engages in a lot of prostitution. And I think that he actually makes money off of sex trafficking. So he's found a way to make a lot of money in a very short amount of time. And I think he's engaged in sex trafficking. I have fairly good knowledge about this man. I've known about him for many years. I've had quite a few interactions with Southern Israelite. I'm pretty sure that he's engaged in at least some form of sex trafficking and in the sex trade with women, with underage girls. I think that is where a very huge proportion of his wealth comes from. And he's the type of guy to not even care about it. Like, he's the type of person that would engage in sex trafficking, and he does live in Las Vegas. He resides in Las Vegas right now, and I mean, he's really deep into like prostitutes. He's probably a pimp. He probably works as a part-time pimp. And that's probably where he gets a lot of his money from. He's kind of like that. Like, he's basically now kind of almost like a street gangster, you could say. He's not a tough guy. Like, he's actually not really that buff or very muscular. I guess he's pretty tall. I don't know how tall he is. He's not short, but he's not exactly buff either. And he's really not a tough guy, but basically he's a street pimp. I'm pretty sure that's where he gets a lot of his income from. But anyways, we had some back and forth again. Shouldn't have done it, dude. I should have learned my lesson back in 2017, 2015. Not engaged with him anymore, but in 2019 we had some back and forth again. And then I joined his Discord, and I actually made a couple of good friends in his Discord server. That was the first time I ever got on Discord, by the way, and I had some fun, so we talked a bit, we had some back and forth and stuff, and he said that I was kind of weird because I wasn't trying to pursue women. So, like, he kind of wanted his followers to, like, start trying to pursue women and trying to get sex, you know, but not marry. You know, kind of follow a biblical MGTOW kind of thing, you know, but try to get sex or whatever. And he was telling me to read these various books about skin in the game and all of that stuff. And I think that probably was the beginning of how we broke apart, basically, our ideas broke apart. But at this point in time, he was already turning into basically a cult leader and kind of this psychopathic maniac type of person that just wanted to, like, have power basically a power-hungry psychopath. And he was trying to run his server like a dictator. And he was really into his English mentality and stuff. He used to be a white nationalist, but then he kind of, after he went to Tennessee and he saw a lot of white people that had his surname, he kind of changed his mind about that and said that there really isn't white genocide and that the English identity was superior to the white identity. So he became very Anglo-Saxonist, and he changed his politics too. He used to want the South and the Confederacy to be free from the Union, and now at this point he wanted to return all of the states to British imperial control. So now he was a British loyalist and an Anglo-Saxonist that wanted a return of the pre-American Revolution political system and for the restoration of the feudal parish model, the kind of medieval church parish feudal church model. So he was all into that. He was also a Calvinist, and he was pro-Oliver Cromwell, and then he changed from that into being more of this Henry VIII pro-high church Reformation, Anglican Reformation thing. So he's kind of changed his positions a little bit. I think he does that because he's not really as knowledgeable about theology as he claims to be. He does have his shortcomings in theology, and he kind of changes his position a little bit here and there every 1 or 2 years. Like once every 2 or 3 years, he'll change a little bit of the subject and stuff. But yeah, he basically, he was very pro-authoritarian, anti-Jefferson, anti-Washington, very anti-Lincoln type of guy. He was still, I think, pro-Confederate, but I think he was more so an English loyalist. A so-called English loyalist. I mean, you want to talk about LARPing, I can't think of anything really. There's few things I could think of that would revolve more around like medieval LARPing or being a medieval LARPer than that. It's pretty pathetic. Yeah, I mean, at this point in the game, you could tell that he was getting really delusional. So, what happened this time is that I actually became friends with this Russian-American guy that followed his platform. His name was Lanceteer. So I actually became pretty close friends with Lance. And he was very pro-Confederate and pro-British. And we agreed on a lot of things. I mean, that was probably the best time that I had with him and with the others. I mean, we got along pretty well. But I kind of had an argument with this German guy, or this German person, that thought that German Americans should be loyal to the fatherland. Like, their first priorities should be to have loyalty to Germany. And Drake Shelton believed that, like, Germans that lived in the United States that were Southerners, they should have loyalty to the South and to England and stuff. And I turned over to Drake Shelton's position. So I had trouble with this German guy. His grandparents were in the Sudetenland, and they fled from the Sudetenland and came to the United States after World War II because of communist occupation of the Sudetenland. The ethnic Germans were kicked out of there, and they went to the United States and stuff. And my German ancestors arrived in the colonial period, and in the 19th century before German unification happened. And so that kind of identity with the Germans and stuff was not the same as with the Germans that came over after the First and Second World Wars. The national guilt complex and stuff wasn't there. There was much more of an identity with Protestantism and with people of British descent, you know. And also, I mean, my ancestors were from the British Isles as well, and like, Britain wasn't exactly cozy with the Kaiser or with Adolf Hitler in World War I and World War II. Like, the British really did not like the Kaiser going into Belgium in 1914, and the English were more than willing to actually defend the cause of neutral Belgium against German or Hun aggression. And like, I was talking to this German guy about it, and he did not like that. You know, he didn't like that I was putting my English or British side first, or my Southern side first, before my German heritage. You know, but you have to understand that the Germans that came to America in the 17th and the 18th centuries, they identified way more with their Protestant roots than they did with national roots. And they assimilated into the Anglo way of life than the Germans that came over in the 19th and 20th centuries did. Those Germans were much more able to preserve their subculture a lot better than the earlier Germans. Like, only the Mennonites were able to actually retain their language and customs. All the other colonial Germans molded into Anglo-American life. Just like the Scots and the Ulster Scots, the Ulster Scotch-Irish and the Welsh, and the Scandinavians, the Danes, and the Swedes did, because they were all Protestant, and they all molded into Anglo-Saxon culture anyways. And regardless, I can't really have, like, loyalty to Germany because I have British ancestry anyway, or Irish ancestry, and, like, you know, the British weren't exactly very cozy about the Kaiser invading Belgium. And again, you know, they rattled sabers when Hitler invaded Poland. You know, but I mean, before that, like, I guess Hanover and Britain fought on the same side against Napoleon or whatever, but yeah, I mean, whatever, dude. So, I actually agreed with a lot of stuff about Southern Israelite, but I'm going to do another live stream where I will actually talk about the good and the bad about the Southern Israelite, the good and bad stuff. I'll do that better. I'll go into a better explanation of that at some other point. But anyways, like, Southern Israelite was just a freak show. He was like, basically some kind of a weird LARPing English loyalist person or whatever. And like, I never understood him, but he did have like somebody from the United Kingdom that followed his server. It was in the server, and we talked and stuff. What was his name? It was Red's. What was it? Red Ed. Yeah, that was it. So there was this British guy called Red Ed, and we were talking here and there, and like, Red Ed basically thought that British were superior to Americans. And I thought it was weird that he derided me for being an American when I had British heritage. And so we were having some back and forths about that. Yeah, we were talking at one point, we talked about the War of 1812 and how the American government detained a lot of people whose origins were in the United Kingdom in the War of 1812, when America was at war with Great Britain. Some people that had citizenship from the UK or were born in the UK and immigrated to America were actually detained and put into detention camps or whatever in the War of 1812 as foreign enemies or whatever during that war. I remember talking about that with Red Ed or whatever, and I guess that Red Ed told Southern Israelite about this, and Southern Israelite felt or had the impression that I did not like English people or whatever. And I'm going to tell you right now that that is a bald-faced lie. There is virtually no evidence. There is virtually not so much as one paper of proof to show that I do not like the English. All I said was that I don't see myself as English. I don't really see myself as European. I just see myself as a Southerner, and that was it. I understand that the American South has its roots in the British Caribbean, and that the colonial southern colonies were British colonies. I get that. But the South became something completely different from the United Kingdom. Yeah, the English-speaking American South, yes. It started off as part of the British colonial empire. There's no doubt about that, but afterwards, I mean, it broke up, dude. Like, after the American Revolution, or in the American Revolution, white Southerners had their allegiance with the American government. You know, there were loyalists. There were a lot of loyalists, especially in Savannah, Georgia. I mean, there was a bunch of loyalists in the southern colonies. But dude, the South sided with the American government, or it sided with the Continentals. And afterwards, I mean, this region became part of America. It was completely something that became a different entity, right? What's wrong with English people Warhammer? Dude, Drunken Surfer, you look almost exactly like Southern Israelite. And that's what's so weird. You could pass for being his twin brother, and like, your personalities couldn't be possibly any different. Like, you're actually a kind of rather nice comedic person, in a way, but like Southern Israelite is not a likable person. You just have to watch about a minute of his stuff, and you'll just see how much of an unlikable person he really is. But anyways, Red Ed was trying to push that I did not like English people, you know, and all I said was that the American South was no longer in the British Empire, and it became something completely different. Now, in the American Civil War, a lot of Confederates were very pro-British, and like in Britain, the entire aristocracy supported the slaveholders and supported the Confederate government because so many of the Southern planters were related to British aristocracy anyway. It kind of actually made sense that they would support each other, but I think it had more to do with a lot of the disagreements that Britain and New England had. New England was going through a literary renaissance or whatever, and it was becoming very pro-Republican and egalitarian and very anti-monarchist or whatever. And a lot of Irish immigrants were coming to New England, and they were very anti-British or whatever. And so in the process of doing that, the British establishment were very anti-New England or whatever, and that's why they tended to favor the South. But that is true that a lot of Southerners are royalist to some degree. At least back then they were, and There was actually even some talks about South Carolina wanting to secede from the Union and go back under British colonial rule or British imperial control. There was actually a lot of talk about that and stuff about reversing the American Revolution. But then later on, a lot of Confederates also celebrated the inheritance of the American Revolution too. So I don't think that there was really any kind of a common platform that the South had. But anyways, I was having some talks with Drake Shelton, and then he kicked me, or he banned me out of his Discord because he said or claimed that I said something about English people. That's total fucking bullshit, by the way. That's a bald-faced fucking lie. So anyways, a year later, Reformed Stoic called into the Southern Israelite, right? So like, Reformed Stoic did a call-in, and I decided to call in as well. I got his number, I called him in, and we talked and stuff, and I told him that his entire generation, he's a Gen Xer, by the way, his entire generation were a bunch of worthless nihilist scum, and I was using a Bible passage, or quoting from a Bible passage, and he kicked me off, dude. He hanged up, and said that the biblical passage I was using referred to first century Jews, and had nothing to do with Gen X. So he started making up that crap. And then he said something about me being a weirdo. Okay, so one of his followers brought up my Barney the Cult Follower persona. They were talking about one of the Barney the Cult Follower videos, and how it was like the Bill, what was it, Billy Alt-Right, one of his Billy Alt-Right videos. And like he was saying that I copied that from Southern Israelite, which is not true. And he said that I was a weirdo. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it, actually. There really isn't much else. He just basically, now he's saying that I'm a NEET. He used to say that I was like, what was it? He used to call me something else. He used to call me an incel. Now he's on this crap about calling me a NEET. But yeah. Well, that's pretty much it, really. So yeah, in conclusion, not really a wonderful experience. And not really a likable guy either. Just really not a very likable person. I mean, he does go around trying to like be a street preacher or something. And he literally thinks that he's like been selected or divinely ordained to be like this awesome prophet. I think he even tried to say that he was like a chosen prophet of God at this point. And he's a heavy drinker, drinks heavily, and I think he does smoke some narcotics. And every week he like spends a lot of his money going to like a massage parlor, and he fucks Asian prostitutes. And I think he's even had some Asian girlfriends. And like he's supposed to be this pro-neo-Confederate guy. You know. Or I'm sorry, he's an Anglo-Saxon loyalist LARPer. What a bullshitter, dude. But yeah. So my experience wasn't my experience with him wasn't exactly the best. I made a few friends. I made a friend with a Russian guy that followed his platform, and with some other guy from Virginia. And we all agreed that libertarianism was fucking bullshit. I mean, you have this Aussie libertarian guy in the chat right now trying to fucking get me into like this kind of Cyrax live stream where he's going to like try to basically show me to his audience as being this kind of a Cyrax retard guy or whatever, trying to paint me under that kind of a brush. So, I mean, we did agree to some stuff, but yeah. Okay, I'm going to read through the chat. So Bubbles says that the trains are cool. I don't know, man. They're pretty fucking mundane. The trains that I've seen are very old and rusty. They're like 50 years old or 60 years old or whatever. And they look very rusty. The rail cars couldn't be in a worse or more terrible state. I mean, you can just tell their age and stuff. And there's also a lot of shit from Amazon Prime that goes on the train. You don't want to live by the railroad. It's fucking awful. Sounds fine so far. What? The live stream? Hype train. You know, there used to be this troll on Bitwave that was called Trainwave, and it was this fucking thing, or whatever the fuck it was showing these transsexual men that were dressed up like women that were fucking each other in the ass, and it was fucking disgusting. I'm probably glad that Bitwave is gone, because it was really getting fucking weird at the end. Kind of glad that Xander stopped paying the bill on that site. Swept. Bronx Beat says swept. Yeros says you're scared of him, bro. No, I'm aware of what his agenda is. I watched parts of his live stream last night, and he's trying to paint me under this stroke of being like some kind of a Cyrax. And like he's going to play the role of like trying to be this more intelligible Mr. Nice Guy, Mr. Popular Nice Extrovert guy. And he's going to paint me in the brush of like being this kind of a Cyrax guy that's going to go AWOL and like lose his temper and go AWOL and fucking do the shock jock kind of thing. Dude, I figured him out, bro. I figured him out. I figured out what he was trying to go for. He's not trying to debate me. He's trying to find ways to make me look bad so as to, like, gratify himself and also, you know, get kicks out of doing it. Why did you leave my Discord, bro? I didn't. That's the hospice server. But I thought we were going to take over the Kino Corner. I never said nothing about taking over Euros' channel. I don't fucking even know that much about Euros. I think he's just a big fucking pussy-ass motherfucking bullshitter. And a total beta male that tries to play tough. Pokes fun at me for being an autist. And he's a NEET himself, living with his parents playing video games in his 30s, bro. Okay, you don't like that I play Minecraft, that's fine, but you're playing video games and you're not doing anything with your life. Like, what books have you written, Euros? Like, what inventions have you made? What have you really contributed to society that makes you that much of a better person than I am? So yeah, I was saying, what I said was that I'm actually taking over the Kino Corner because I'm producing worthwhile, interesting content. You can just look at the Ghost of Nicolos channel for that, okay? If you actually think that a fat, white guy, a fat, white, light-skinned Mexican dude from Georgia who takes off his shirt, puts on an eye patch and says that he's Japanese and plays Let's Be Friends music and dances around like he has Down syndrome, you think that that is content? I don't know what to tell you. Please, go have your head checked, bro. That's not content, okay? I think it's pretty fucking obvious that what I do is more content and actually more Kino and worthwhile watching than something like that. Okay, Drunken Surfer says, what's wrong with the English people, Warhammer? Nothing, dude. I was just talking about how Red Ed and Southern Israelite were trying to paint me in a Anglophobic light. Euros MC says, you're scared of being exposed, bro. Exposed about what? That I'm smarter than you are? And have read far more books than you have? Where were you last night? In hospice? I was sleeping. That's what I was doing, bro. I decided that you were a fucking waste of time, and you're a fucking waste of fucking human life. And so I just went to bed and I didn't think about it. I tried to call you before the stream to see what exactly you were trying to do, and I asked what the topic was. You didn't give out a proper definition, so I just fucking didn't bother to show up. Southern Israelites Payot couldn't hold a candle. Are you talking about like his Patreon? Dude, the guy is an egotistical, narcissistic scumbag. Very self-centered, dude. That's all he wants is just money, okay? Don't pay him nothing, okay? Don't give him no money, okay? That's what he wants you to do. So don't do it, man. Or maybe in your case, woman. Don't do it, woman. You know, he's involved in sex trafficking and he has sex with young Asian prostitutes. So, you know, I would kind of figure, you know, you don't want to give him your money. He's going to use that to have sex with an underage Asian prostitute in a massage parlor. Drunken Surfer says, you're scared of your gunt being exposed, Warhammer. That's kind of funny, dude. That's actually kind of funny and hilarious. No, I'm just not really interested in like this kind of Cyrax versus Marty style gaslight shock jock BS nonsense that doesn't have no point or no topic. Okay, giving out valid criticism isn't really the same thing as trying to gaslight a person. He will be exposed, all right, Surfer. Dude, you called me a coward and then you're begging for me to come on to another stream. I think you're the one that is wanting the attention, bro. He DDoSed my mom. Okay, I hope that you're just basically trying to be sarcastic there. I hope you're being sarcastic because I don't even know how to DDoS anybody. I don't even know where your mother lives in Australia, bro. I'm going to assume that you're just being a fucking sarcastic douchebag there. And he will pay. Yeah, I'm guessing you're being sarcastic about that. What does the British think about not turning up to a stream you said you would and playing Minecraft instead? The American South started off its history as being British colonies. Most white Southerners are of British descent. So I'm not for sure what you're talking about with that. In regards to playing Minecraft, I find the creepers in Minecraft more interesting than anything that you may ever have to say, because at least they pose a legitimate threat to my credibility. All that you're doing is just pulling shit out of your ass and trying to land or throw like a monkey that hurls his poo out at virtually anything that you can at my bullet holes or what you assume to be bullet holes to my arguments. You're in this surely for the Surgon of a cod libertarian style BS shock jock factor, and not really for trying to find an academic point for legitimate criticism. Bubbles, another slave to the tuggers. Yaros MC Libertarian Gang. Complex Technocrat says, sup, Hammer. Hey, what's up, Beans? How's it going? Okay. Oh, this is friend BTW. Oh, dude, you know, I wonder what happened to you, friend. I kind of lost you for a while after I kind of lost contact with you when my other channel was suspended. Good to see you back, man. How's it going, bro? Yaros MC says, bro, that's mean. I invented truth and justice in journalism. Actually, I would say that you just copied and peddled Sargon of Akkad. Dude, all you actually did was just copy off of Sargon of Akkad. Be original, bro. You could at least try to be fucking original instead of like this fucking Aussie piece of shit little Aussie gamer idiot that has a homosexual, effeminate sounding voice. Try to be original, bro, and not steal off of Sargon of Akkad, the Drunken Peasant stream, or whatever, bro. Complex Technocrat says, Limo Daimyo destroyed. Oh, yeah. Well, dude, all he ever does is takes his shirt off and dresses up like he puts on these really gay-ass glasses. These sunglasses that are fucking gay-ass, dude. And just fucking dances around like an idiot. Mormon Shaggy says that he grows mushrooms and sells it to kids. Or whatever, like he's some kind of a drug dealer. Of course, this is coming from Mormon Shaggy, and he's not exactly a credible source. Tree Master Bob. More cancer than content. Any idiot could play Minecraft. Well, my rebuttal to that is that any idiot can spell idiot with I-D-O-I-T like you can. At Tree Master Bob, then leave, lol. What does that say about you if you think that and you're still here? They're just trying to like take hits at me to get me to spurg out. I would imagine that some of these guys are affiliated with Plate Gang. And I imagine that Euros probably first found out about me through Plate Gang or my encounters on Plate Gang or whatever. So they're going to try to like take these shots at me to like get me to spurg out like Cyrax or act out like Cyrax or whatever. You know, something like that. But yeah, dude, why are you here watching then? Go fucking watch Mormon Shaggy if you don't like what I do. Fuck off. Euro says, was it academic when you DDoSed my mom? Are you CIA, bro? Dude, your fucking mother deserved it, bro. She's a fucking bitch. I'm the fucking pimp. And I fucking DDoSed her all the way across the world to fucking New Zealand, bro. When I was done with fucking her off, bro, she was in fucking China. That's how fucking long I fucking dicked her. How do you like that, bro? Yeah, I'm fucking CIA, man. I'm fucking crypto CIA, bro. Making cryptocurrency getting big on Trovo, yo. Bubbles. Those are prescription. He needs them. Okay. What's a plate gang? Is that like an Ethan Rolfe Discord thing? You know, it's funny, but they actually, dude, friend, they actually used to follow Ethan Rolfe. A lot of these alt-right type servers, they started their existence with following Ethan Rolfe. And then something happened, from what I understand. They turned against Ethan Rolfe and they started to troll him. So Plate Gang is just basically a bunch of trolls that hate Ethan Rolfe, and Corey Barnhill is in there. So like, it's funny. I wish I had live streamed this, but I had some pretty fun back and forth with Corey Barnhill in the Plate Gang server. And it was pretty fucking hilarious, dude. I fucking roasted Corey Barnhill in the VC. And, like, he just kept calling me a fat retard. and left, dude. And like all he ever does is like talk about Ethan Rolfe and posts stuff about Ethan Rolfe. And dude, he's just freaking obsessed with Ethan Rolfe. It's weird. It's freaking weird, man. Can we play Minecraft together? Yeah, if you want to. It'll help me to get to know who you are better. Euro says she deserved it. Yeah, she did. Drunken Surfer, based Warhammer, Australia felt it again. Absolutely, bro! Dude, all they are is like these convicts that the Crown, the Crown had these laws where if you even stole bread, you could actually be hanged. And like when you went to a court in Britain and you had a conviction or a felony conviction for the most basic of shit, sometimes they would sentence you to transportation, and so they would sentence you to Australia as a convict, and instead of being hanged, you would be exiled to Australia. So like quite a lot of Australians are a bunch of descendants of convicts. It's pretty funny, dude. It's pretty fucking hilarious, dude. Oh, Euros, are you friends with Mormon Shaggy, dude? Dude, that guy is... okay, well, you can't, you don't know my lore. You can't legitimately criticize me because you don't know my lore. Hold on a second. Damn it, bro. No, I don't want to ban him. Oh, it was Bronx. Okay. Sorry about that, Euros. I didn't... hold on a second. Let me... Okay. Ahmed Mueller, don't spam in my chat, bro. Okay. Bronx timed out, Euros, dude. That's pretty funny. Dude, don't ban him, dude. Don't ban Euros. Okay, hold on a second, dude. That was funny about Euros getting timed out by Bronx Beats. Okay, but anyways, I was going to ask Euros if he's close friends with Mormon Shaggy. You can't question me because you don't know my lore. You don't know my lore that well, Dude, Mormon Shaggy sounds more like a sped than me, dude. Okay, she's in hospice. My dirt floors. Dirted. Forge Gang! Let's go! Let's get it! Welcome to the Forge, players! This is where the Chads hang out and shit. Okay, Bronx Beats saying Forge Gang. Let's go! Drunken Surfer says Ethan Rolfe is a Chad and a Minch. Oh yeah, dude, I actually agree with you. Like Corey Barnhill and all these other Plate Gang guys that are after Ethan Rolfe, they're a bunch of fucking beta males, dude. Yeah, Ethan Rolfe is a Chad, for sure. I thought it was funny how he got, in Portugal, he got, like, busted up and looted. Or what was it, dude? He got mugged in Portugal. I thought it was kind of funny. Big Daddy Dank says, based in Gunt Guard Pilled. Can't handle the Gunt, bro. Euros couldn't handle the Gunt. Okay, complex technocrat, loreless thought. That's funny, dude. Okay, I would like to be your friend, Warhammer. You just have to repent for your e-crimes. Okay, bro. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, man. I guess I misunderstood you. I guess there was some misunderstanding. I don't want to be your enemy, Euros. But dude, you're kind of weird. You have a very homosexual, effeminate voice. I have to say, man. You have a very effeminate voice, and I think that you're probably a closet homo. Bubbles' impeccable impression. Well, how dare you? How dare you say that about me? How dare you? Fucking you don't know. Well, you don't know my lore. You don't know my lore that well, so you can't criticize me. Okay? I'm not going to take this anymore from you guys. Anymore. It's Tonka time with the Warhammer. Well, you can't criticize me if you don't even know my own lore. Bronx Beats goes, haha. Bubbles talk about massage parlors in Shaggy's voice. I go to massage parlors. Well, whenever I get horny, I just go to the massage parlor to get laid. That's quite a lot of money. I have to work a lot of hours to put in the money to do it. It's not as easy as when I went to college. It was pretty easier to get a piece of pussy in college, but now I have to spend all this money to go to a massage parlor. Oh, curse me. Oh, with me. Oh, till the tides depour thee. Oh, breathe well thy Mormon Shaggy. Oh, woe with me. Greek says, War Didla, give me mods. Fuck slur. Bronx Beats, he is close friends with Shaggy. I'm sure he is, dude. I wouldn't fucking doubt it. The complex technocrat, mod up Greek. I did. Bronx Beats says, let's go! Big Daddy Danks, J Danks always wins. Greek says, mod me, the fuck slur. Bronx Beat says, haha, facts. Greek says, TY, sir. Alright, Euros MC says, wait, did you ban me, Warhammer? No, Bronx Beats put you in timeout. And you said mean things about my voice. Dude, how sensitive are you, man? You're like a grown adult, man, and like, you're hypersensitive about stuff. Like, are you neurotic, bro? Like, do you have freaking high neuroticism? Damn it, dude. Forge Gang! Let's go! Little shimmy freestyle and always be happening. Let's just be getting it. Greek saying, Forge Gang! Euros MC, I just said I wanted to be your friend and play Minecraft. WTF, bro. Bronx Beat says, Forge Gang! Shaggy is my good friend. I don't care if you're friends with Mormon Shaggy. I was just under the assumption that since you're friends with Mormon Shaggy, that you probably have a lot of the same opinions as he does. Tree Master Bob, Shaggy impression is spot on. You should debate him and just impersonate him. I can't believe that you say that. I can't believe that, I can't believe that you would say this. I don't want to debate Warhammer anymore. That guy's a fucking fat spad. I can't stand Warhammer-roo. I can't handle him. At least the Daimyo is a little bit At least the daimyo's tolerable. Oh, this Warhammer guy is just unapproachable and illogical. I don't know if I can deal with him. Be based. Bronx Beats. Okay, so Euros MC says, oh sure, convenient explanation, you censored me. I'm a libertarian and you censored me. Yeah, dude. Like the Bible says, like I posted to you, the Bible does not support free speech or rights, dude. Men are not born free and they are not inherently equal. Those kind of Enlightenment values are bullshit. And it's no surprise that atheists like you, atheists or agnostics, are so into that libertarian bullshit. Like, every atheist that I've ever encountered, or every free thinker that I've virtually ever encountered, is like that. Really into, like, this Ayn Rand libertarian shit, dude. You probably listened to Ayn Rand and, what was that guy, what was that guy that ran that institute, the Moses Institute? Okay, I can't think of his name, but like you're into like Ayn Rand stuff or whatever, like that kind of Ayn Rand atheist libertarianism crap or whatever. But yeah, dude, I do not believe in free speech or free will. I believe in free agency, but I think that free will contradicts the Bible. But yeah, I don't care about your libertarian nonsense or your freedom crap. Enlightenment constitutions are not based on God. Like, even fascism, I think fascism is far more closer to the Bible and to the biblical message. Like, some kind of biblical National Socialism or Judaizer National Socialism is totally based, dude. You can debate Shaggy on the Kino Corner. I will be the impartial moderator. Probable a Mormon extremist too. Probable a Mormon extremist too. You know, I'm actually going to say something good about Mormon Shaggy. He is a Mormon authoritarian. And although I do disagree with his Mormonism, I assume that he is a semi-Aryan, or that at least he does not believe in the Trinity. Mormons don't believe in the Trinity of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. So I will say that if Mormon Shaggy is an authoritarian fascist, and is also a anti-Trinitarian, I have to say that that's based. I have to say that's a good thing. That's a good thing on his part. Okay, so you can debate Shag. I already said that. Drunken Surfer, you should do a rap battle against Euros MC as Little Shimmy Warhammer. I can do that, bro. I can literally do that. Euros does raps just like you do, bro. I had no idea, man. Yeah, that sounds interesting. I've already won a freestyle against someone. What was his name? Bubbly B or Bobby B or something. Baji B or whatever. Dude, I won. I had a freestyle contest with him and I won. I would love to fucking own your ass in a freestyle contest or whatever. My word, Ayn Rand wept. I don't think Warhammer has been to a kebab shop, though, Surfer. We actually don't have none of that in Texas. Like, probably the closest kebab place that I could go to would be in Houston. But we don't really have a lot of that in Texas. Greek says rap battle. Euros MC. Warhammer, do you not believe in the free marketplace? Okay. So free markets, which, like, in regards to the Industrial Revolution, that was actually kind of horrible. If you look at, like, the living conditions of workers in the 19th century, it was actually horrible, dude. People, before the Industrial Revolution, when people farmed, life was much easier. In fact, I would say that for ordinary people, they actually had longer and healthier lives in the Middle Ages than they did in the 19th century in the Industrial Revolution. Like, that kind of lifestyle of living in cities and working in factories was awful. It took a long time before living standards and accommodations for the working classes in the industrial factories actually became good enough. You do know that in the northern United States, that so-called free people that worked in steel mills and on the railroad that got wages, you do know that they actually died a lot in those working conditions. There was no safety, no types of regulations for people, and they actually had it worse than slaves in the South. Like, slaves that lived in the antebellum South had higher living standards than some of the workers in New England when the Industrial Revolution finally came to New England first and actually started to take hold from Britain. But yeah, dude, the marketplace is a failure. The marketplace is a complete and total failure. I'm not against capitalism, actually. I think the Bible does say that you can get rich and you can have money if you do it in an honest way. But I do believe that the market should be regulated in order to cater to the Christian church. You know, try to cater to, like, Christianity and to the dominant culture. You know, even the British Empire was not free market. It was mercantile. And the early United States was also mercantile. Mercantilism was when you have a monopoly over a certain type of market and you're able to produce a product and you sell it in a corporatistic way. Even that is actually better than the free market. So no, I do not support free markets. It is completely against God. It is unbiblical and unjust, and it goes against basic human nature. It's almost kind of like a feudal system, but, you know, at least the feudal system gave the peasants the opportunity to have their own livestock and to farm and to be able to to make their own bread and stuff. Like, so-called more free people in the 19th century had shorter lifespans than serfs in the Middle Ages did. Like, that was the Industrial Revolution was horrible, dude. The working conditions and the living conditions in the houses of people in the 19th century was horrible. Absolutely gutter, dude. It was horrible. You just have to read what Dickens said. What was his name? Charles Dickens? Just read what he said about it. It was horrible, dude. No free speech, you animal. Oh, hold it, let me do it in Mormon Shaggy's impersonation. No free speech, you animal! What an atheistic cope. Talk about atheist cope, dude. I don't know if he could contend in the kebab shop, Euros. Oh, so now I gotta go to like an Indian restaurant. So you're saying that I gotta take a laptop into like an Indian restaurant and freaking debate Euros there, huh? Be based by Greek. Euro says, Warhammer, how many push-ups you doing, buddy? I'm doing a live stream. Why would I be doing push-ups if I'm trying to talk on a live stream? I swear, dude, these guys. They call themselves free thinkers, and then, like, they somehow assume that they're so intelligent because they're free thinkers, and they can't even get around to the most basic of logical questions. I'm doing a live stream. What should I do? Push-ups, do push-ups and talk on a live stream at the same time? Funny, dude. Mormons aren't Christians. Free market is just feudalism 2.0. Yeah, basically so. Complex Technocrat says, read The Jungle. Yeah, when was that? That was published in 1906 by a woman writer. But yeah, I heard about that when I was in school. I've never read the book though. Euros runs the kebab shop, Warhammer. Oh, so he's not even white? Wow, so he's not actually white or what, dude? Ah, there he goes. Oh, dude, I have to cover my ears. It's so loud. But yeah, dude. There it goes. Ruining the live stream twice in one run. Euros runs the kebab shop, Warhammer. So Euros is not white? I thought he was white, so he's an Indian Australian. That's interesting. Oh well, I don't have a problem with Indians. Yeah. Dude, Forge Gang is all about equal opportunity and fairness, bro. Not in a libertarian sense, but fairness. So we don't hate dot heads around here. Bronx Beat says, Yaros BTFO again. Greek says, Yanni. Yanni. Oh, by the way, I was going to ask you, Greek, but how many Greeks are pro-Russian and pro-Chinese? I mean, I don't have a problem with that, but I was just wondering. Drunken Surfer says, Euros freestyles in the kebab shop. Cool. Like, do they have like a DJ, like what? Do they have like a night, a nightclub thing in there? Like they have like a nightclub with a DJ playing and stuff? Not true. I hate Pajits. Well, I mean, the Chinese hate Pajets too. Like China, like the Chinese hate the dot heads as well. I was just wondering, I mean, like Russia and Greece are like Eastern Orthodox brothers. I would figure that Greeks would love the Russians. But like, there was a video of this Greek guy that said that Germans and Americans are fucking scum. And it was like saying that the Chinese and Russians were great. I'll show you the clip. Yeah, I was just watching this a couple of hours, an hour ago. But yeah, I was wondering.
You know what happened in Hong Kong, right?
Like, dude, why would you fucking love chinks? Are you insane, dude? Like, the Greeks are white people. Like, Greeks are freaking white people, dude. Why would you love the Chinese? But here's the video.
I know everything. I know everything. I study my history. I'm a Greek. Like I said, the two pillars. China and Greece. And what else is there? Who? Here. Ask me fucking something here. Don't know shit. Yeah. Same thing with Cambodia. Same thing with Laos. Same thing with Thailand. With Vietnam. With Korea. to some.
So, is Greece and Russia friendly? Greece and Russia?
I am pro-Russia.
You know Navalny? You know Navalny?
Navalny is
He's
the same savage.
He's a color revolution.
It's the same. That's exactly why you're going to do the new atlas.
Yeah.
Go YouTube. The guys, I think maybe he served his military here, but he knows exactly what the fuck is going on, so he's in China. He comes out and says, you know what? Boom, boom, boom. And I go, that guy, look at him. 25 years, 26? 25. 25 years, thank you very much for using the brain. And thank you very much for your knowledge, your brain, and your understanding. But yeah, you have Germans, the garbage, the stinking savage garbage, genocide, fucking butcher motherfucking garbage. 80%, 80% of the losses during the Second World War
In Russia. Soviet Union. So
never forget the number. 80% of the junk, savage, butcher, garbage got fucked by the assholes.
yeah.
Look, thank you. But remind you one thing that you might not know. Before the Germans occupied Greece, during the Second World War, they sent the Italians into my country to butt fuck me.
Yeah.
You know that?
They lost them. They got beat. They got ass kicked up.
Along with them, they brought the Albanian garbage.
Get on the sidewalk, bro. You're gonna get hit by a car. You don't want to get hit by a car, right? Go on the sidewalk. You're too valuable.
From the beginning of the war, from the time the Italians attacked us, all the way to the end of May of the next year, they were defending the Red Cross. They were defending. Nobody else. France lost in about a week. More than what, 2 days?
Yeah. What about Yugoslavia? You know Yugoslavia?
Okay.
Were they good guys?
That is okay. Other than the Serbs, the rest are clean the fucking ground with the fucking junk. Everything is material to them. To the Slavs, the fucking Poles, fuck the fucking Poles. Fuck Poland, and motherfucking Czechoslovakia, and motherfucking Ukraine.
They all sell out the data, right?
What?
They all go to data, right?
Oh, you paying attention? Fucking open wars. You know about the open wars, right? Okay. Open.
Yeah.
Who brought it there?
British.
I guess he's a communist or something. He kind of sounds like a communist, really. But yeah, Euros freestyles in the kebab shop. That's interesting. What does he do? Not true, I hate pod jets. Dude, there's a gas station in Coleman that has these pod jets, and they're absolutely dumb, and they don't even speak English right. Like, I was talking to this Indian dothead woman, and she's a fucking retard, and she talks like she has Down syndrome. She doesn't even speak English that well. And it's just weird, dude. But yeah, I've had some encounters with Indians, but there aren't too many Indians in Santa Ana. None. We racism. We hate Shank and Jews. Greeks had to expel Jews like the Germans. Well, didn't they expel a lot of Jews in 1821 with the Greek Revolution? Like, in 1821, when Greece got its independence, they actually slaughtered a lot of Jews in like a few of the urban areas, like in Athens. Like, I thought that you guys got rid of a lot of your Jews in the Greek War of Independence, right? And then the Germans deported a lot of them as well. You know, I'm not trying to be anti-Semite, okay? Jews are white people. But I was just saying, like, I thought that the Greeks actually kicked a lot of Jews out with the Turks. We gave them language back and kicked them out. Yeah, but like Greek Jews don't even speak Yiddish. They're not Ashkenazi, so technically they're something else. Like they're Greek Balkan Jews. Didn't a lot of Spanish and Portuguese Jews go to Greece and to the Balkans after they were expelled by the Inquisition in 1492? Like the Ottoman sultans invited them in, and then you guys killed a lot of them in 1821 or whatever during your revolution. Who cares about Greece? They can't even pay debts. Well, I mean, that is true, but Belgium and Ireland and Italy and Spain and Portugal and Ukraine have the same problems too. So yeah, I mean, Greece defaulted a lot on its debts, but you know, America in the 1830s under Jackson, under Andrew Jackson, the American bank defaulted, and for like 10 years, America was in millions of dollars of debt because of what Andrew Jackson did. But yeah, that's kind of funny about Greece not paying back its debts. Not even a viable tourist destination. Dude, they have the Pantheon. They have the Pantheon, there's Sparta, the ancient Olympics. There is a lot of interesting classical and Roman ruins in Greece. And there's even the Minoans and the Mycenaeans. There's like Bronze Age stuff, dude. I mean, most of Europe was pretty savage, backwards, and barbarous when Greece had a civilization. And not just in classical times. They had a civilization all the way back in the Bronze Age. And even in the Stone Age, like, they had a lot of sophisticated cultures. Greece had the first European civilization, really. Or the first centralized civilization and writing culture in Europe. Possibly even the Mediterranean. So, like, the Greeks had a pretty sophisticated culture, especially compared to the backward Germans and Slavs and Celts and stuff. Old man is a commie Athenian. Yeah, I could tell that he was pretty old looking. He probably grew up in the 70s when the colonial junta, or the military junta, was around. He was probably like into that kind of commie counterculture that hated the military junta that existed in Greece or something. That's a possibility. Greek says that Greece has a big commie problem, Warhammer. You know, I've known about that. Germany has a lot of the same problems, also Greek. There's a bunch of these communist marches in Berlin that talk about like Ernst Thälmann and who was that woman that was a commie? Rosa Luxemburg and stuff, and they'll celebrate like the GDR and stuff. And East Germany is very weird because not only are there still a lot of communists in East Germany, but there's also Nazis. Like, former East Germany is also the most Nazi part of Germany. And I always thought that was weird. The most pro-communist parts of Germany are also the most pro-Natsoc. But I'm sure that Greece has a lot of white nationalists or Hellenic patriots and a lot of Nazis too. So I mean, Greece probably has many very hardcore right-wing people with like the Golden Dawn as much as they have commies. But I'm sorry about that, Greek. There's traitors in every country, dude. There's traitors in all countries and cultures. Treemaster Bob says, lol. Big Daddy Dank says, what's the appeal of kebab? It's the most barbaric way of cooking. Durr. I'm a put meat on a stick. Yeah, I mean, I thought that kebab has its origins in the Caribbean. Or in Africa or something. Afro-Caribbean type of food. But yeah. Well, I mean, India has a pretty ancient civilization, too, that goes back thousands of years, but, you know, did you know that there's actually really powerful, strong Hindu supremacists? There's very strong Hindu ethnic nationalists in India that want to kick or exterminate all the Muslims and Pakis out of India. That's pretty interesting. Greek says that we kicked them out 1,000 or thousands of years ago, but they come back like roaches. Yeah, you mean like with Emperor Justinian? I know that Emperor Justinian and a few other Byzantine emperors, and even the Roman Emperor Hadrian, he tossed them out of Palestine. Like, after the Bar Kokhba rebellion, and the Kitos War in Crete, or in Cyprus, they kind of basically went to Parthia. But yeah, I mean, I don't have any personal points about that here or there, but yeah, I know that the Romans and the Jews did not get on at all. And so to this day, I've been told that rabbis have these Hashinic prayers about the Emperor Hadrian or something. Or like there's this kind of Hashinic prayers that rabbis do at the Wailing Wall where they curse the name of Emperor Hadrian because of what he did to genocide the Jews in Palestine. Big Daddy Danks. Bubble says it, Big Daddy Danks. They do that so they don't have to clean the cooking surface, maybe. Yaros MC, you can't rap battle me, Warhammer. That's funny, dude. You've already seen my videos where I rap, bro. Yaros MC says, too scared. Big Daddy Dink says, so it's all so lazy. Big Shimmy, millions. Big Shimmy says, aren't we in trillions now? Millions and trillions of what, bro? I'm kind of not really following what you're saying. Are you talking about money? Dude, I've heard that you can actually make a lot of money out of Trovo, or that Trovo allows you to get some bit currency for what you produce in terms of content. So I've heard a lot of good things about Trovo. Big Daddy Dank says, yeah, but when no one can collect said $1 trillion debt, it's called tribute. Something like that. Are you talking about Greece's default? Because Zimbabwe is way worse than Greece. Like, Zimbabwe is probably thousands of times more bankrupt than Greece is. But dude, fuck the bank. I don't really like Hitler. I mean, Hitler was an insane maniac and lunatic. But dude, he had a point about shutting down the bank. Like, a lot of the reason why they went to war with Hitler and the Nazis was because Germany stopped trying to pay its debts to the Versailles Peace Treaty. and they shut down all of the private banks in Germany. I think that's actually pretty based. I will not lie. There's good and there are bad things about Hitler, and there's good and bad things about Stalin and all of these dictators, but you can learn from them. You can learn from the examples of Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, Napoleon, Charlemagne, and Oliver Cromwell, and various other, Francisco Franco and Mussolini. Every one of these people had good points and bad failures, okay, that they did, but you can learn from the examples of all of these different dictators. And they have, regardless, these leaders motivated the masses. I see myself in that same vein. I see myself as a leader. I see myself as being brought up and selected by the will of God to be a leader over the masses of the people and to be a legitimate and very good and highly esteemed dictator. And I think that that's a good thing. I think that I have a lot to give to humanity in that regard. Not to be like a psychopath, but a good, highly moralistic and balanced leader in the Confucian sense of the terminology. Confucius talked about the mandate of heaven and the will of the emperor. And you have to have the mandate of heaven. Or I should say, the mandate of God. A good emperor or a good king or monarch rules on behalf of Jesus Christ. World, right? And he gives power and authority to kings and emperors and dictators to rule on his behalf over the masses. Just as he installs clerics and priests, over the masses to enlighten and teach them how to be good sheep in the church. So good Christians submit to authority. Good, willful Christians submit to authority, bro. Euro says, you can't rap battle me, Warhammer. Too scared. Big Daddy dinks. So it's also lazy. Okay, I think I read that already. Yeah, but when no one can collect said $1 trillion debt, it's called tribute. Big Daddy Dank says, yep, lazy. Remember when France asked the USA for its gold back and the USA replied with limo? That's pretty funny, dude. Dude, France always loses. France always seems to lose for some reason, dude. When was the last time that France ever won a war? It always seems like they're on the losing side of everything at this point. Oli Tabujer says, good evening, Warhammer. Forge Gang! Let's go! Hello there, Oli. Good to see you on here, bro. Or should I say, I'm sorry, sis. Good to see you on here, sis. Greek says, first out of the 109 or 109. And then Greek says, Pastor Warhammer. Yep, I'm a pastor, bro, and I'm leading the sheep back to Christ. I'm doing the heavy work, dude. I'm doing the work, man. Or at least I'm attempting to. Yeros MC says, Warhammer, why did you censor me in the marketplace of free ideas? Dude, your marketplace of value is bullshit. You can go fuck off with that. Let me see. Here, load this up. I wonder if Drunken Surfer is still on. Okay, here's what, dude, Euros, here's what the Bible says about your stupid freedom or basic freedom rights and shit. Deuteronomy chapter 17, verses 14 to 20. When you came to the land that the Lord your God is giving you, and you possess it and dwell in it, and then say, I will set a king over me like all the nations that are around me, you may indeed set a king over you whom the Lord your God will choose. One from among your brothers you shall set as king over you. You may not put a foreigner over you who is not your brother. Only he must not acquire many horses for himself, or cause the people to return to Egypt in order to acquire many horses, since the Lord has said to you, you shall never return that way again. And he shall not acquire many wives for himself, lest his heart turn away, nor shall he acquire for himself excessive silver and gold. And when he sits on the throne of his kingdom, he shall write for himself in a book a copy of this law approved by the Levitical priests. And it shall be with him, and he shall read in it all the days of his life, that he may learn the fear the Lord his God is, keeping all the words of this law and these statutes, and doing them, that his heart may not be lifted up above his brothers, and that he may not turn aside from the commandment, either to the right hand or to the left, so that he may continue long in his kingdom, he and his children in Israel. So 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 17, honor everyone, love the brotherhood, which means to love your own people, love your own race and your own ethnicity and people, fear God, honor the emperor. You're supposed to honor your kings and monarchs, dude. This is part of the will of God. Romans 13, 1-9. Let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God. Therefore, whoever resists the authorities resists what God has appointed. And those who resist will incur his judgment. For rulers are not a terror to good conduct, but to bad. Would you have no fear of the one who is in authority? Then do what is good, and you will receive his approval, for he is God's servant for your good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword in vain. For he is the servant of God, an avenger who carries out God's wrath on the wrongdoer. Therefore one must be in subjection, not only to avoid God's wrath, but also for the sake of conscience. So you know what, Euros? When you were censored, I believe it was part of God's will to punish you. You are under God's wrath, and you are being punished by God for your disobedience against authority. So there is no freedom. There is no free place for free ideas. That's all a bunch of capitalist BS nonsense. Wish-chan was here. He's a war spurg, knows everything about war. Awesome. I love to talk about military history. Wait, what? My marketplace of ideas are bullshit? Yeah, they are, absolutely. People think that a liar gains a victory over his victim. What I've learned is that a lie is an act of self-abdication, because one surrenders one's reality to the person of whom one lies, making that person one's master, condemning oneself from then on to faking the sort of reality that person's view requires to be faked. Ayn Rand. Yeah, dude, everybody here knows that you're fucking coping with that crap, dude. Like, you think that von Mises and Ayn Rand have something special to say, but you know what, Euros? Ayn Rand and von Mises are burning in hell. And when you die, you're going to go burn in hell right along with them for your service to the devil. You fucking vile satanic scum. Ghost of Niccolo, what's up, bro? Hey, what's up, Ghost of Niccolo? What's happening, bro? Let's go, Forge Gang! Let's get it! Little Shimmy ready to rap out some Bible verses. No lies, no egalitarian freedoms are available. It's just all authoritarian approval by God, setting out the standards for which we are known. It's just time to get around, and you know it be crazing. I'm just crazing it up and burning it out up on the rap beat. The DJs be remixing it up on the playlist, buddy. You gotta be saved in the Spirit of Christ if you're gonna make it to the kingdom of heaven. Heavenly grace is forever. It's not for everyone because not everyone is born free and equal anyway, bro. Okay. Euros MC. This is why you are afraid of the marketplace of free ideas and thoughts. Dude, you're a freaking materialist scumbag. Do you even know what a hypothetical syllogism is, dude? The very concept of metaphysics disproves your materialistic reality, bro. You're a nihilist. Euros, you're a complete absolute nihilist, and I finally am starting to pick up that you're basically a cultural relativistic or relativistic materialist scumbag, and you're just a complete and outright nihilist. And ultimately, the kind of atomist ideas that you're pushing leads to inherent nihilism. You're an atomist. You see people as complete atomist or atomist people that have no connection whatsoever to a community, a religion, a race, an ethnicity, a nation, or a state, to a government, to institutions which are specific and unique to said nation and to said ethnic group of people. But, you know, you could just, I'll give an example, Euros. Look at Georgia. Georgia is a language in which only Georgians know. Like, Georgian is a very sophisticated and very complicated language, and only Georgians typically speak it, dude. Georgia is 86% Eastern Orthodox, and I have respect for them, bro. I hate that they have a lot of communists there, but you know, not everything's perfect. Like the Georgians, the very existence of Georgia disproves your bullshit free market values. The only people that actually fall for that are Anglos. Like, it's typically Americans or Anglos that push that crap. Okay? Ironically, the system that you approve of supported the slave trade. Like, 200 years or 300 years ago, capitalism was heavily involved in the slave trade and the flesh markets of Africa. Your free market was right knee-deep in the blood stain of black people in Africa, sending them across the Atlantic to work in plantations and stuff, you know? Like, that's what your capitalism system was, basically, is it supports slavery. It's inherently, your ideas are just inherently Orwellian. You're basically almost very Orwellian in a way, dude, and it's like a control thing. And that's what the 20th century is about, dude. At the beginning of the 20th century, you have traditional institutions and traditional monarchies. And through the course of the 20th century, there are communist revolutions. And by the time that you get to 1950, you have this totalitarian Orwellian system that wants to control virtually all thoughts, all ideas, all cultural values, all norms, and all things, and control the masses of people in the Orwellian system. And you actually think that that is actually better than traditional institutions that are rooted in centuries of traditions and values and thoughts. Okay, medieval Europe was freer than 20th century Europe. Medieval and ancient Europe was a freer society than Europe was for most of the 20th century under communism. That's what I think about that. That's how I think about that. And you know what? Nazi Germany had the first security cameras, or the first surveillance system. Like in Nazi Germany, they actually had these punch cards that they got from IBM, and they used these punch cards to methodically identify all the Jews that they were going to round up and send to concentration camps to die in gas chambers, bro. And the first totalitarian surveillance cameras, you know where they were from? 1942 in Germany, bro. They were used to watch people build these rockets, like the large rockets that they fired to England to bombard England in World War II. They used the world's first surveillance cameras to monitor slave labor of Jews that were building the V-2 rockets, dude. Like, Nazi Germany was the first place where this totalitarian control and surveillance camera systems were first built. Ain't that wild, bro? Ain't that totally freaking wild, man? Let's see here. Repent for getting censored by God, Yeros. Yeah, repent, man. It is part of God's divine will that you are made and compelled to bow to the knee of Jesus Christ, or be thrown into the flame of hell for the lack thereof. It's as simple as that, Euros. There is no free marketplace or freedom of choice between going to hell and being saved and repenting in God and Christ. Repent for getting... Okay, Greek says, lol. You censoring maniac animal. I'm based, bro, as far as I'm concerned. Ghost of Niccolo says, Forge Gang. Big Daddy Dank says, Ayn Rand is gay. You know what? Ayn Rand never married. She was, I think she was Russian or whatever. And, like, she never married. She spent her entire life single. Probably never had sex with men. I wouldn't doubt if Ayn Rand was a lesbian. That's what kind of people carry around these ideas, is really gay, LGBTQ type of people. A lot of atheists are gay. Like, a lot of the reason why people become atheists, actually, is to, like, find a way to justify their hedonistic lifestyle. Euros MC says, I will still play Minecraft with you because I can. All men in the free marketplace, my friends. Okay, dude, whatever, man. Personally, I think that Minecraft is more feudal than capitalist. Bronx Beats. Forge Gang! Let's go! Big Daddy Danks. Euros nigga, you gay. Yeah, dude, he has a gay-sounding, effeminate voice. I bet you he even looks really effeminate, too. Yaros MC, how dare you censor my relativist materialism? Euros MC, this is not Ayn Rand's vision. Euros MC, now I know for certain it was you with the DDoS attacks. You have shown no respect for the sovereignty of the individual, you monster. There is no I in we. The Bible is tribalist. The Old Testament is inherently tribalist, and it is collectivist. Biblical Christianity is inherently collectivist and against individualism. There is no I in we, as in there is no I in Jesus and his apostles. There is no I, as in we, the early church. The first century Christians did not think of themselves as trying to support free market values or the value of free ideas. They were focused on trying to bring the good news to the pagans, and they were actually attacking organized paganism. Like, St. Paul literally went to Athens and Pergamum. What was it? Pergamum in Anatolia? You know, and he literally pushed his own authority and claimed to have divine ordained authority over the pagans. That's not a market of free ideas, bro. That's not how Christianity became so successful. Christianity, you know how Christianity made it into Europe, bro? Christianity spread into Europe at the point of a sword. Like, it went full Deus Vult. Charlemagne was sending the Frankish mercenaries. You know, he sent priests. Okay, so Charlemagne sent priests to Saxony, and like the Saxon heathens killed the priests and the clerics. They cut their heads off and sent back their heads to Charlemagne. So he sent the Frankish army into Saxony, and he slaughtered the Saxons wholesale. Slaughtered the Frisians and the Saxons wholesale, bro. And he made them convert to Catholicism at the point of a sword. At the point of sword and bow. Or longbow. And they converted, bro. The Teutonic Knights, they went at the point of a sword into the Baltic, and they made the heathens convert to Christianity. That was not a free market of free ideas. They were made to be Christians, bro. They were made to have their idols destroyed and go to church. And that's kind of the same treatment that needs to be done to all of the people that are hedonistic today. All these homosexuals, like all these gays that deny the existence of God, that's the kind of treatment, the Deus Vult treatment, the Crusader treatment that they deserve. Like when the Crusaders went to Jerusalem in the 11th century, they did not go there for free market or to exchange and trade with the Muslims. They slaughtered the Muslims in Jerusalem. They tore down the gates and stormed the walls and destroyed and burned down all of the mosques and synagogues in Jerusalem, and they built cathedrals, and they took back the Holy Sepulchre and just went full on Deus Vult, Genghis Khan mode and style, dude. That's how real Chads behave. And you know what, dude? They were justified. They were actually freaking justified in doing all of that. All of that murder and killing and all that bloodshed was justified in the eyes of the Almighty God. It was a good thing. That's an example of something that is inherently good. The spread of the church and the rise of Christian culture in the world, dude. Culture in the world. Yaros, nigga, you gay. Yeah, he is, dude. How dare you censor my relativist materialism? This is not Ayn Rand's vision. Now I know for certain that you dossed my mom, dude. You have nothing at all to give. You have virtually nothing to tribute. You have virtually nothing to contribute to civilization. Euros, maybe it was Mormon Shaggy DDoSing you. I have no idea who dossed you, bro. Ayn Rand was very handsome, you sick Sanuva. She's a man. Yeah, well, she was bisexual. Probably very bisexual. How dare you besmirch Ayn Rand's name? Nick Shaggy is my friend. Oh yeah, bro, and Mormon Shaggy actually has an 8-inch penis. Give me a break, dude. We know that he doesn't have an 8-inch penis, dude. That's a cope. Hey, that's rude. You know what, Euros? That's called coping. Why don't you take your copium, dude? Just take the copium already. Big Daddy Danks. Ha, gay. Bronx Beat says, DDoS Euros mom again. I will, bro. Yeah, I'll do it, bro. I'm a total freaking awesome expert at being a hacker, bro, and I'll fucking do it, bro, and I'll fucking take excellent pleasure in doing it. The Ghost of Niccolo says, pagan homos BTFO'd. Ghost of Niccolo, let's go! The Ghost of Niccolo says, smash and hammer they idols. Yeah, destroy all the freaking idols, bro. Ghost of Niccolo says, let's go! Ghost of Niccolo, Deus Vault. You know what? I need to do like a freestyle Deus Vault. The Ghost of Niccolo hammer. Have you ever heard of the Children Orphan Crusade? It's sad, but uplifting, dude. Yeah, they were sold to slave markets in North Africa, if I recall correctly, or the Middle East. That's really a shame. Yes, I do know about the Children's Crusade of 1111, or was it around like 1106 or whatever? But yes, I have heard about it, man. But yeah, dude. If Christians followed the free market of ideas like the Roman Empire and barbarian Europe and like the Middle East prior to Muhammad, the Prophet Muhammad would have never become a Christian place, you know. And also, if Western people embrace these kind of ideas, then white genocide is just inevitably going to happen. This is why white genocide is going on in the West. This is why Western culture has declined, because Western people embraced these kind of ideas about the free market and all these other lies and stopped following the Bible. When Western people stopped following the Bible and stopped going to church, stop praying to God and doing their devotions to God, and instead embrace the ideas of the free market, like in the Cold War period and even in the 19th century, that's when the West started to massively decline, dude. That's when the Western world basically really started to fail. So, we don't need a free market. We don't need freedom, and we don't need free ideas. Complete nonsense, dude. Total, complete, absolute nonsense. We need to have like a biblical economy. Let me find like a quote or something, you know, like a citation. Hammer, have you ever heard of the Children Orphan? Okay, somewhere around there, yeah. Yeah, the Children's Crusade, like in 1111 or something. Okay, can a biblical case be made for free markets? Would God prefer that our wealth be controlled by free people exchanging goods and services in a free market, or by government? By a system that maximizes individual opportunity, or by a system that minimizes the individual? By us or by the world around us? If you ask these questions of millennials, the 83.1 million Americans born between 1982 and 2000, you'll get a surprising answer. So Harvard polling reveals that 51% of Americans between the ages of 18 and 29, the bulk of the millennial generation, reject capitalism, which is another term for free market economics. The economic system that has shaped America and fuels the world's progress, characterized by high levels of free enterprise and private ownership of property. This way of organizing the economy and meeting the needs of society through though imperfect, is proven better for the flourishing of individuals and societies. So it says right here, the Bible never explicitly endorses free market economics. It does, however, have much to say about freedom and work and property and wealth, and how we should manage and use those things. Genesis tells us that God created mankind in his own image. Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. He gave mankind a vast garden to tend. So yeah, this is not correct. That's kind of Arminianism. I apologize about that, but yeah. Capitalism is against Christian ethics, and I am of a full belief that capitalism is an absolute failure, dude. At least post-industrial capitalism. Okay, hold on here. But yeah, post-industrialized capitalism is a complete and total failure. Here we go. 5 Reasons Capitalism is Not Christian by Mike Frost. Capitalism benefits the few at the expense of the many. The fundamental principles of capitalism systematically undermine social cohesion, dividing us from each other, impoverishing us, and eventually sacrificing our collective well-being for the benefit of the few. In his book, Pericon, Life After Capitalism, Michael Albert writes, "Capitalism revolves around private ownership of the means of production, market allocation, and corporate divisions of labor. It remunerates property, power, and to a limited extent, contribution to output. Class divisions arise from differences in property ownership and differential access to empowered work versus subservient work. Class divisions induce high differences in decision-making influence and quality of life. I do not list the innumerable times the Bible condemns Israel for allowing the rich to become richer while the poor remain destitute." The prophets in the Bible always talked about how the kings of Israel and the rich elites failed to help the poor of Israel. Like a lot of the Israelite poor were suffering because of the failure to treat it. And the prophets were always preaching to go out and help the poor. The prophet Amos, talked about how bad the poor had it in ancient Israel, and how the kings and the priesthood and all of that needed to help the poor who were practically starving to death because of a famine and because of war. So yes, the Bible condemns Israel for allowing the rich to become richer and the poor to remain destitute. I do not need to quote Christ telling us the kingdom of God belongs to the poor, or his condemnation for those who do not care. For the least of these sisters and brothers of mine, in the Christian tradition, iniquity and poverty have always been seen as evidence of a corrupt and sinful society, and God's people have always been called to practice the alternatives of generosity, hospitality, and justice. But yeah, people fall into poverty because of a sinful society. Luke chapter 6, verses 20 to 21. Then he looked up at his disciples and said, "Blessed are you who are poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. Blessed are you who are hungry now, for you will be filled. Blessed are you who weep now, for you will laugh." Luke chapter 4, verses 16 to 19. When he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, he went to the synagogue on the Sabbath day, as was his custom. He stood up to read, and the scroll of the prophet Isaiah was given to him. He unrolled the scroll and found the place where it was written, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim release to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to let the oppressed go free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. Matthew chapter 25, verses 34 through 36. Then the king will say to those at his right hand, Come, you that are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was in prison, and you visited me. Mark chapter 10, verse 21 to 22. Jesus, looking at him, loved him and said, You lack one thing. Go sell what you own and give the money to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come follow me. When he heard this, he was shocked and went away grieving, for he had many possessions. That's basically you, Yaros. Euros, are you listening to this, bro? That's basically you. You are the man that has many possessions, and you're unwilling to give to the poor. That's what you are, Euros. You talk about free market value, brother, but Jesus is telling you, give everything that you have away and give it to the poor, for you will have treasures in heaven if you follow Christ. Luke chapter 16, verse 19 to 25. There was a rich man who was dressed in purple and fine linen, and who feasted sumptuously every day. And at his gate lay a poor man named Lazarus, covered with sores, who longed to satisfy his hunger. With what fell from the rich man's table, even the dogs would come and lick his sores. The poor man died and was carried away by the angels to be with Abraham. The rich man also died and was buried. So the rich man went to hell, and the poor man went to heaven. So that's something to think about. I've already been to church, day 2 though. Bro, where in the South, Southern Israelite hammer? The Southern Israelite was born somewhere in southern Mississippi, and he currently lives in Las Vegas, which is actually outside of the region, otherwise known as Dixie. But I think he's involved in sex trafficking, and he's involved in having sex every week with Asian prostitutes at a massage parlor. And he's also a heavy alcoholic drinker. So, I wouldn't consider him to be much of a moralistic teacher in that regard, if you ask me. But he lives in Las Vegas. Bronx Beat says, I've already been to church, second day though. Well, dude, the clear message of God is give to the poor. You have got to give what you have to the poor and pay at least 1/10 of all of your earnings to the church. Luke chapter 11, verses 39 to 42. Then the Lord said to him, Now you Pharisees clean the outside of the cup and of the dish, but inside you are full of greed and wickedness. You fools, do not the one who made the outside make the inside also? So give for alms those things that are within, and see everything will be clean for you. But woe to you Pharisees, for you tithe mint and rue and herbs of all kinds, but neglect justice and the love of God. Luke chapter 12, verses 16 to 21. Then he told them a parable. The land of the rich man produced abundantly, and he thought to himself, what should I do? For I have no place to store my crops. Then he said, I will do this. I will pull down my barns and build larger ones, and there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I will say to my soul, Soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, be merry. But God said to him, You fool, this very night your life is being demanded of you, and the things you have prepared, whose will they be? So it is with those who store up treasures for themselves, but are not rich toward God. So, I mean, there you go, bro. Capitalism promotes greed. I remember hearing an investment banker telling me the market will always correct itself because tenders are driven by two primary motivations, fear and greed. Well, that doesn't sound very Christian now, does it? Hello there, Bubbles. What's up? I guess she's coming in and out of the stream. Capitalism treats people as commodities. So communism has its cadres. Okay? Like, what is communism? No rights, virtually no way to lift yourself up and to do anything different. Your life is controlled by the cadres. Well, what about capitalism? Capitalism is commodities. Basically, you are treated as a soulless material commodity. You are sold on the ideas that wealth is the only way to happiness and well-being. And what happens when you do this? You don't care about Christ. You don't really care about something that is higher than you as a person, or something that is bigger than your life. You don't care to commit to it. You don't care to commit to God, and so you go to hell when you die, and you lose everything that you gained in this life. All the stuff that you have collected, all the things that you have stored up in your personal life, when you die, that's not going to be yours anymore. That's going to go to somebody else, and you're going to go burn in hell for all of eternity, and you're going to be eternally annihilated. So what good does it do to have all this wealth? So Christ says to give to the poor. Give your alms to the poor, man, and pay your tithes. That's what the Bible says. If you love Christ and you follow after him, give alms to the poor and pay your tithes to the church. And respect authority and respect goodwill. And do these things in goodwill. Don't do it begrudgingly, but do it with goodwill. That is what a saved Christian would do anyways. Or at least a saved man, period. But yeah. But Joel Colville says that capitalism tends to degrade the conditions of its own production. Capitalism must expand without end in order to exist. Think about all of the rainforest trees that have been cut down in South America. Think about all of the rainforest, all the trees in the rainforest around the world, like in the Amazon, that have been cut down for the greedy exploitation of capitalism, bro. Free market. That's your free market, bro. And now, all of these capitalists, all these billionaires like Elon Musk, all of a sudden, they're so concerned about carbon emissions. Like Elon Musk lives in a small house and has sold all of his private yachts and mansions because he thinks that he's going to lower his carbon emissions. This is what capitalism and the free market does. It creates these kind of distraught people. Even Elon Musk will admit that capitalism leads to destruction of nature with carbon footprints and carbon emissions. And now all of a sudden, after all of the destruction he's done with his Tesla and all this other bullshit with pollution in the atmosphere and stuff, now he's so concerned about his carbon footprints. Ain't that bullshit or what, man? Ghost of Niccolo says Christ is the way. Yeah, he is. The only way, too. John 6:33. Hello, Bubbles. And then Bubbles says Tendi motivations. The Ghost of Niccolo says hammer. The Daimyo says do not seek anything outside of yourself. Okay, that kind of sounds Buddhist. Very cringe mongoloid, bro. Dude, he looks like a mongoloid. Dude, freaking Daimyo does look mongoloid. He actually looks more Hispanic, bro. I know that I have Hispanic friends, and I don't want to upset them, but yeah, I mean, the Daimyo is a mongoloid piece of shit, man. He's a fat, gunted mongoloid crybaby that quit, just threw in the towel, gave up like a bitch, and then he's saying, don't ever seek anything outside of yourself. That's just an example of someone that's given up, okay? That's a real example of a quitter and a loser, and that's someone that Yaros should consider. Does baby Jesus cries when you lie? Teary-eyed emoji or teary-eyed smiley. Well, I was born in the late 20th century, the last quarter century of the 20th century, and baby Jesus was born in like the 1st century, so technically I'm like almost 2,000 years apart from Jesus Christ. So I did not even exist 20 centuries ago when Jesus was born, so not for sure what your point is about that. But what has more traditions? Like, I will conclude on this. What has better respect for more traditions, capitalism or communism? You want to make a bet, bro? You actually want to make a bet about that? Is it possible for me to show an article that actually demonstrates that communism might actually be more respectful inherently to tradition than even capitalism does? Give me a second here. Here we go. Where's that article at? Okay, here we go. A likely story sounds exactly like something a time traveler would say. Well, maybe I am a time traveler. I can't just give all my secrets away. Maybe he means in the Garden of Gethsemane, Hammer, IDK. Oh, you mean that time when Jesus wept shortly before the crucifixion? And he tried to ask God to not make him go through what was going to happen, but inevitably it would happen. Are you a time traveler, Hammer? I can't just give away all the projects that I do working with the CIA, bro. You know, my CIA handlers, bro, you know, they're going to be concerned if I give away too much information. No, that's a common saying. Baby Jesus cries when you lie. Okay, Nick. See? Well, how did I lie, bro? What did I lie about? That I was going to debate Euros and I didn't show up on Euros' retarded live stream? Okay, interpreting the scriptures of history and a holistic approach to the study of Chinese communist civilization. So, look at this, bro. They're actually talking about Confucius, and they're talking about, like, the different stuff about traditional Chinese civilization. Okay. Isn't it kind of unusual when you look at, like, a Chinese communist article, you translate it into English with Google Translator, and you find, like, them talking about their support for Confucian ethics, Confucianist ethics, and, like, balance and the importance of family, like the importance of having a community and the importance of traditions and stuff. And then you go over to liberalism, and you look at the values of libertarianism, and what do you find, bro? This is the kind of shit that you find in American libertarianism. This is why our culture is a failure, bro. Let me turn this off. Look at this, bro.
This is the story of a soldier who operates your nation's Patriot missile defense systems. It begins in California, with a little girl raised by two moms. Although I had a fairly typical childhood, took ballet, played violin, I also marched for equality. I like to think I've been defending freedom from an early age. When I was 6 years old, one of my moms had an accident that left her paralyzed. Doctors said she might never walk again. But she tapped into my family's pride to get back on her feet, eventually standing at the altar to marry my other mom. With such powerful role models, I finished high school at the top of my class, and then attended UC Davis, where I joined a sorority full of other strong women. But as graduation approached, I began feeling like I'd been handed so much in life, a sorority girl stereotype. Sure, I'd spent my life around inspiring women, but what had I really achieved on my own? One of my sorority sisters was studying abroad in Italy. Another was climbing Mount Everest. I needed my own adventures, my own challenge. And after meeting with an Army recruiter, I found it. A way to prove my inner strength and maybe shatter some stereotypes along the way. I'm U.S. Army Corporal Emma Malone Lord, and I answered my calling.
Okay, so there you go right there, dude. This picture of like a U.S. Army officer having like the rainbow flag covering their mouth to censor them. because you can't be a homophobe in the military. I think that that is a good example of the kind of values that the United States and other Anglo countries push. This is insanity, bro. You compare this with like freaking Chinese communists, dude, like this freaking Chinese Maoist shit. And they're talking about supporting community and family orientation and like class cooperation, dude. And do you see the difference, bro? They're talking about Confucius and Mencius and all this other stuff and about supporting, preserving Chinese tradition. Like the Chinese Communist government wants to preserve thousands of years of Chinese Confucian traditions and order. Look at this here. Compare the homosexual faggot values of the West with these ideas of centralized Han ethnocentrism. The most important thing for a revolution is to produce a group of professional revolutionaries. Whether they are trained from students or from workers, it is the same anyway. Any difference between workers and intellectuals should be completely eliminated. In this case, in the practice of the Chinese Revolution, in the main force of the Communist Revolution has the distinction between intellectuals and workers and peasants and soldiers been completely eliminated. The reason why I think of these questions is mainly inspired by Weber's analysis of the bearer of civilization. The scholar official has the bearer of Confucian civilization and the analysis of identity groups in theory. However, these theories of Weber are only an escape for the study of the CCP's revolution. So these guys, dude, these communists, they're talking about Marxist philosophy, but they actually talk about Confucian values, Han ethnocentrism, and values of having family and community and stuff. And then you compare that, of all things, to American and Western values promoting homosexuality, dude. What is more based? I say that Chinese Confucian Han ethnocentrism and Russian ethnocentrism are more based than American individualism, than freaking damn stupid ass free market bullshit values. Inherently, the true saved Christian opposes Western morals and homosexuality and individualism. A real Bible-believing, born-again Christian opposes the values of individualism and rights and freedoms. That's my freaking conclusion. Jeez. I think The Time Traveler by H.G. Wells is real. Maybe it is. Maybe there is a time traveler from like the 23rd century that's traveled back to the 21st century and is giving lectures about how to preserve civilization and prevent it from falling apart because of the problems inherent within nihilism, cultural nihilism. Will you censor my voice in Minecraft, or can you have free thought and discussion? No, I don't. I believe that there's only free agency and everything is predetermined by God from the moment that He created man and the earth. So no, I don't believe in free will. Bronx Beat says, Yaros lied, baby Jesus cried. You know, that actually kind of freaking rhymes. It's weird. Is it real, Nick? You're saying that I'm trying to cover up about being a time traveler? Euros MC, yes, libertarian chads rise up. I live POC in my cartoons. Politically correct? Ah, you're such a soy boy, dude. You're a freaking neckbeard. Soygon is Yaros's mensch. Oh, you're friends with Surgon of the COD too? You know, I actually had some back and forth with him on Bitwave a little bit, but it might have been a troll pretending to be him as also. But yeah, Surgon is such an idiot. Powerful role models. You see right there, bro? Hold on a second. Dude, you see right there, bro? Look at that. Look at what Euro says. He's referring to that American faggot commercial about the U.S. military where that girl had two moms or two same-sex parents. And Euro says, powerful role models, dude. Are you finally starting to get my point about libertarian BS nonsense, dude? These guys support the exact same values as the SJWs. I have seen the future. Why haven't you answered your calling, Warhammer? My calling is to be a preacher and to teach you to bow down and bend the knee to Christ. Euros MC, they defend our freedoms, you defend censorship. No, I don't. That's the will of God. All the things that I do can be attributed to the will of God. You're just complaining about what God's will is for the world, and nothing else. Nothing more and nothing less. Euros MC, don't push me, ban meat. American individualism, Ayn Rand is based. Nah, bro, she's not half as based as George Fitzhugh. George Fitzhugh is based, not Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand is full of shit, bro. But I understand that you take inspiration from women. You probably want to chop your dick off and you want to transition into being a trans woman anyway, so I understand where you're coming from. You want to cut your dick off and you want to transition into being a trans woman. Sorry, Bronx is a gay Janny, Euros MC. Bronx is not a Janny. You are a disgrace to our troops. It was Warhammer who censored me. It was God that put you in your place. It was Jesus Christ that put you in your place, you faggot. Why don't you go chop your dick off so you don't procreate, you fucking wannabe trans woman? Yeah, get it right, loser, at Big Shimmy. Surgon and Shaggy are my two bestie friends. Yeah, and I'm sure that you have butt sex with them regularly. Ha 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 ha. Bronx is not a Janny, dude. He was just doing his job. They are powerful. George Fitz, you arsehole. Fakas. Are you talking about my penis? Yeah, I'm talking about how you probably want to cut your penis off and transition into a woman to be inspired by your powerful role models. Your role models are trannies, dude. How do you feel about that, Euros? Euros, how do you feel about that? Your role models are people that chopped their dicks off and transition into being bitches. They can't actually be real bitches, so they decided to transition into being fake bitches. Fake tranny bitches. It was God, Euros. Yeah, it was God's will for you to be censored. Because you're full of shit, bro. Wow. I got off my track of mind. Burger Boy is still up this late, bro. how to get saved and live as a Christian.
How's it going, my friends? Reformed Stoic here. I wanted to talk very quickly about how to get saved. So if you've made it this far, you are a Christian, you are starting to either want to make an effort to have faith, or you have faith, or basically the hard work is behind you. Like, you are being swayed over toward God, Christ, the Word of God. Now the question is, what do I do as a Christian to make sure that I am saved? The first step is to read the Gospels, take in the story of Jesus Christ, understand that it's a true story. He truly lived, his apostles lived, and he died on the cross, was resurrected after 3 days, is in fact the Messiah, the Son of God. And if you believe that Christ lived, died, was resurrected, is the Messiah, the Son of God, then you will be saved. Now, the next thing I'd recommend you do is, after knowing the Gospels, go on to the epistles, basically just finish out the New Testament. This is going to give you instructions on how to live your life, further instructions on how to live your life, because a great deal of them are in the Gospels, instructed from Christ. So, while doing all of this, you're going to want to take account for whether or not you were ever baptized. If you were...
Okay, well, so far into this, I guess it's okay, but he's talking about baptism.
Baptized as a baby, like I was, and then you veered off of the path, and then eventually now you got back on the path, you are saved. You don't have to worry about it. If you've never...
Okay, well, he's actually right about that. I was actually thinking that he was going to say that you need to get baptized again, but no. I think Stoic is a Roman Catholic, but, I mean, that's fine. I mean, there's good Roman Catholics, for sure. Burger Boy is one, but I think this guy is confused in the head.
Ever been baptized? Go get baptized. It's...
You know, I think the devil uses guys like Reformed Stoic. On the one hand, you know, he'll tell people about Christ. He'll tell people about salvation and the good news. And then, you know, he'll go off and talk about black magic and demon transfusions and all this other crap. And then people will think that he's insane and stuff or whatever. And I think that, you know, I think that the devil uses people like Stoic like this to make people who are not saved think that people that are like Christian are crazy. Because he talks about demonic possession, black magic and stuff, and it makes people assume that he's kind of a little bit off his meds or whatever, and it makes Christians look stupid. That's why I try to be rational, and I try to use some logic and philosophy and stuff in my arguments to try to not look like that. You know, but I do agree. Drunken Surfer says, nope, he wrong. You need to be baptized again. No, you don't, bro. I agree that you should at least be water baptized once, but you don't really need to be baptized in water in order to be baptized by the Spirit. Baptism of the Spirit is different from that of water. John the Baptist said that although that he is able to baptize Jesus Christ in water, he cannot baptize Jesus of the Spirit. So those things are completely different. You don't need to have a second baptism. And really, you don't need to even be baptized at all by any church to be saved by the grace of God. It is salvation by grace through the means of faith, or the means of having faith. Is this dude an Anabaptist? Big Shimmy, are you talking about Drunken Surfer or about Reformed Stoic? Not sure. Yaros destroyed. Oh yeah, dude, I owned Euros hours ago. I freaking owned him hours ago, dude. Hey, Surfer, bro, hope you are good, bro. Baptized in the words of Ayn Rand. Let's go, RG! Bible stream with Surfer, Hammer. Yeah, maybe another time. I mean, this was just about Southern Israelite. John chapter 3, verse 5. Mormons baptize for the dead, which is kind of silly to me. Actually, Ghost of Niccolo, in the book of Thessalonians. Did you know that in the book of 1 Thessalonians, it's actually okay to, Paul apparently does something to give baptism to the dead. So it is actually true that the early church baptized or gave baptisms to the dead. But that practice was given up shortly after the apostolic age. But no, I mean, yeah, I kind of agree that that's really cringe, bro. But I think somewhere in Thessalonians, Paul gave baptism for a dead person. So that actually happened. Jesus says, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of God. You don't need to be baptized after you're saved. Being baptized as a baby and then being saved by Christ is fine. It's just like circumcision. The Bible says that in order to be close to God or to be in covenant with God, you need to have your foreskin cut off, your penis. Paul said that you don't need to have a circumcision in order to be saved or to be in the church. You know, so I look at water baptism as being the same as circumcision of the foreskin of the penis. You know, you can do it if you want to, but it's not necessary. Just pray to God and just pray to be saved and to be born again in the Spirit. And that's basically all you need, bro. You don't need... Water baptism is more of a Catholic thing. It's a tradition that is irrelevant and outside of the church. Owned me. You didn't even show up to the debate of Free Ideas stream. What's the point, dude? You're an anarchist. And also, you did your stream when I was asleep. Like, I was asleep at that time. Why should I get up and listen to you call me a fat retard? Is it even really worth that? Is it worth that much, dude? You're an idiot. You need to be baptized to be saved. That's what Jesus said. Yeah, I know why they do it. I just cannot understand. It seems like purgatory, Catholic light. Purgatory, Catholic light. Yeah, water baptism basically is just some kind of Roman Catholic philosophy. Warhammer doesn't even know what Jesus said. What about Acts 2:38 Warhammer? My circumcision makes my penis look bigger than Mormon Shaggy's. That's pretty funny. Okay, let's take a look and see what Drunken Server said about the Bible, Bible verses. Dude, I wish I could have a beer. Be nice. Okay, John chapter 3, verse 5. Jesus answered, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven. Okay, where is Acts? Acts chapter 2, verse 38. Then Peter said unto them, Repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Jesus Christ for the remission of sins, and ye shall receive the gift of the Holy Ghost. You have to have faith to be baptized, bro. So water baptism is not part of the gospel, bro. It says right here, another approach I have used with success is to point out that baptism is not part of the gospel. 1 Corinthians, Paul said, For Christ did not send me to baptize, but to preach the gospel. 1 Corinthians 1:17, clearly, if Paul was sent to preach the gospel, and was not sent to baptize, then the gospel and baptism are two different things. 1 Corinthians 15, the only passage in the New Testament is to give a formal definition of the gospel, confirms that baptism is not part of the gospel. According to Paul's definition in 1 Corinthians 15, 3-4, the gospel is the good news of the death and resurrection of Christ. Baptism is never even mentioned. If it is the gospel, it is the power of God unto salvation. Romans 1:16. Since a person is saved by the gospel, Romans 1:16, which does not include baptism, 1 Corinthians 1:17, 15:3-4, then a person can be saved without being baptized. So let's look at these Bible passages. I'll go ahead and read them. What's going on here? Bible trumps Google, bro. Water and of the Spirit. This paper is scamming you. No, it's not, bro. These are real Bible verses. For I delivered unto you first of all what which I also received, how that God died for our sins according to the Scriptures, and that he was buried, and that he rose again the third day according to the Scriptures. Okay, here it is right here. 1 Corinthians 1:17, For Christ did not send me to baptize, but to preach the gospel, and not with words of eloquent wisdom, lest the cross of Christ be emptied of its power. So there you go, 1 Corinthians 1:17. I'll post it in the chat. There you go, bro. You don't need to be baptized to be saved. You just got to understand the basic point of what salvation is and submit to the will of Christ, and that's basically it. Water and of the Spirit. Yes, and then even then it says of the Spirit and not just water. You cannot have a water baptism and go to heaven, bro. That's not how it works. Bible trumps Google, bro. Yes, it does. This paper is scamming you. No, it's not. Obviously, preaching the gospel and baptism are two different things. Yes, basically so. That doesn't change that you need to be baptized by water. No, you don't, bro. All of the churches that exist today are part of the institutions of the fallen world. And there is no church today, there is no single church denomination that preaches the entire truth of the gospel. And they have submitted to like the federal deep state agencies, intel agencies. Virtually every Christian preacher except Catholicism is a Freemason. Like virtually almost every single Protestant preacher in America is a Freemason. And the Catholic Church is basically controlled by Jesuits. The church has been undermined. The only thing that a real Bible-believing Christian can do today is be a member of the unseen church. So the only thing that you can really do is just be part of the unseen church, or a part of the invisible church that Paul talked about. We have to, we just have to communicate in underground churches. I'll post John 18:36 here. So, drunken surfer, my rebuttal to you is John 18:36. Jesus answered, "My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight that I should not be delivered to the Jews, but now my kingdom not from hence." So the kingdom of God is not of the world. It is it's not a spiritual, it's a material. So God's kingdom is very much real and it's material. It's materially based. It's not some kind of a spiritual kingdom, but it's not worldly in any moral way. Hold on a second here. Hold on a second there. So there you go. My kingdom is not of the world. What does this have to do with baptism? Well, what's the point in me going and getting a water baptism, let's say in a Baptist church, if the preacher is a Freemason, it's a 501c3 church that's loyal to the government, that's going to preach how good and how great America is when it comes to killing innocent Arab people in the Middle East, performing horrific and horrendous crimes against people in Vietnam and Iraq and Iran, pushes for horrendous militaristic doctrines, all to expand American markets overseas to get raw materials to build up the military-industrial complex. Organized religion is evil in my eyes. I am actually against organized institutional religion. I consider myself to be a member of the invisible, unseen church that St. Paul talked about. And that's basically the point of what a real Christian should be, is to be a member of the invisible church. Every church today is corrupt, completely and absolutely immorally corrupt. So every member of the invisible church is saved, while the visible church contains all the individuals who are saved, though also having some who are unsaved. So you can be part of the visible church of God and still be unsaved. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works. And then I will profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. So you actually have to live the correct life that God wants you to be. Hey bro, I made a Realms server. What's your Minecraft username? I've got to load it up and show you. Are you Beans, bro? Big shimmy on your Beans, right? Yeah, I'll load it up, man, and I'll give you the number or the the username. I'll give you the username to my avatar. But Jesus instructed us to be baptized by water. No, he instructed you to be saved by grace and to be saved in the Spirit and not in water. Okay? You don't just be baptized in water. Dude, Euros is a pagan, bro. That I should not be delivered to Jews, but oh, that's me. You don't need to be baptized by a centralized okay, you don't need to be baptized by a centralized human organization. I agree, dude. Centralized churches are under the influence of Satan. Organized religion, high priests, deacons, and bishops are controlled by Satan the devil. Most mainline Protestant organizations like the Anglicans and Methodists, they're basically just Catholic churches in all but name. Most of these Protestant churches are Freemasonic and Catholic in all but name, bro. Virtually all of the main church organizations and denominations have been subverted by Satan, bro. This happened a long time ago. The church is meant to be decentralized. I agree 100%. Yeah. Well, I mean, Oliver Cromwell supported the existence of a state church. But a lot of low churches were created during the time of the English Protectorate under Oliver Cromwell and the Puritans. There was a lot of Presbyterian churches that were opening up in the Kingdom of England. And a lot of people were coming to Christ and being saved during Oliver Cromwell's rule. I have to say that, like, you know, Drunken Surfer, Oliver Cromwell was one of the most glorious saved men to have ever walked the face of the earth. Defeated the crypto-Catholic Stuarts, and founded the great Commonwealth and Protectorate of Great Britain. Probably one of the greatest men to have ever lived, at least in the 17th century anyways. And he also handed it to those Irish pagans too, those Gaelic pagans in Ireland. The church is meant to be decentralized, I agree 100%. Yeah, well, I mean, we gotta destroy the idols, Drunken Surfer, and cast out all Catholic images out of the church. There was a lot of pagan idolatry in the Anglican and Protestant churches in the 17th century, and the Puritans were right to do what they did to de-Catholicize the church. Hey bro, I made you a Realm server. Centralization failed in the Old Testament under the nation of Israel. Yeah, basically so. They failed to give to the poor. Time and time again, the prophets said, give your alms to the poor. The poor are suffering, and you call yourselves followers and members of God. and you have like these poor Israelites starving in the streets of Jerusalem and in the countryside. It was a horrible thing, dude. That's why the old covenant failed and was replaced by the new messianic covenant. That's why Israel needed to have a Messiah in the form of Jesus Christ. They did not trust God, brother drunken surfer. Catholics and any other church trying to re-centralize for political gain pervert the Bible. I agree, dude. Organized religion is bad. Organized religion is evil. Okay? There's no difference between a Catholic church and a Buddhist shrine. Like, you can go to a Catholic church and go into a Buddhist temple, and it's just the same shit, dude. It's the same crap. But Jesus instructed us to be baptized by water. You can be baptized by water or not, bro, but that has nothing to do with teaching the gospel. This is for the remissions of our sins. Oh, no, it's not, dude. Accepting the gospel and being saved by the Spirit alone is the remission of sin. Jesus will say he never knew you, Euros. John 3:5, brah. Jesus is a mensch because he is alive. Yeah, Jesus was based, man. And he lives eternally forever, dude. Jesus overcame death itself. Like Jesus overcame death. Bronx doesn't understand this. Is like Bronx a pagan dude? SSPX gang Jesuits BTFO'd. Yeah, dude. Jesuits and Pharisees BTFO'd, bro. Show us your MC username, Hammer. SSPX NSDAP Charlemagne. Cool. Let me get my name up here. Ah, here it is. It's Warhammer 004554 Beans. I can't copy and paste it. I'm just going to have to type it by hand. Oh, dude. Typing by hand is so low-tech. Warhammer 004554 at Big Shit. There you go. That's my Minecraft username. 1 Corinthians chapter 12 explains how the church is made up of many members who play different roles. Just because Paul says his specific role isn't to baptize in 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 17 doesn't mean you don't need to be baptized. Baptism is irrelevant to salvation in the gospel. Mark 16:16, John 3:5, and Acts 3:38 all instruct us to be baptized. Mark 16:16 and John 3:5 are both direct instructions from Jesus in the gospel. I never said that water baptism was evil, but why is these statistics coming up? Oh, bro. I got it, brother. Oh, I got it, brother. Fire it up and join my Realm server. Okay, bro. Is that a crime? Well, you're going to go to hell for not believing in the gospel of Jesus Christ, man. You're going to go to hell for following this esoteric PPPS nonsense BS, dude. The gospel of Jesus Christ, BTFOs, esotericism, period, dude. You occult cuck. Bronx Beats, you're basically an occult cuck. Disconnect. Cancel. Back. Where is the realms at, brah? We are saved by grace through our faith, because our faith leads us to read the gospel, which leads us to be baptized and follow Christ. Exactly, dude. I wouldn't even worry at all about baptism until you get saved and are committed fully for a lifelong service to the gospel. Baptism comes after, like, salvation, bro. Here, Drunken Surfer, I'll post this. It's only 10 pages. Acts 10:43, Luke 7:48-50. Like, the basic point is you live by faith. You don't live because you're going to be baptized or you've been baptized. But I think you're mixing spiritual baptism up with water baptism. You're mixing up the works of man with the works of grace. But Drunken Surfer, water baptism, I would say that water baptism goes into this idea about works, a salvation of works. You're not following the salvation of grace, but the salvation of works, bro. Get baptized at 33 like Christ if it is that serious. I just don't believe in baptism for the deaf, bro. You can be saved and never be baptized ever in your entire life. That's just a works of man thing. Hebrews 6:2. On the doctrine of baptisms and of laying of hands and of resurrection of the dead and of eternal judgment. And this we will do, and this will we do if God permit. If they shall fall away, to renew them again unto repentance, seeing they crucify to themselves the Son of God afresh, and put him to an open shame. Okay, what are we doing here? Get baptized. It's right below multiplayer. Oh, here it is. Minecraft Realms. Come on, bro. That's a lot of tabs to click out of. I'm gonna break my mouse cursor by clicking so much of that. Okay. Oh, you got an invite. Accept. It says no pending invites. You don't have to pay for it. Will it be hot in hell? Will it be hot in hell? You're asking me about how bad hell is, bro. Oh, dude, I'm falling out. Oh, I lost a lot of health. Way up, bro. I just died. Jay Dank says Forge game. Where am I at? I'm like in some mountains. Connection lost. Back. Alright, I'm gonna play Minecraft Realms now. Why is it called J Danks? Yeah, play. I've already signed up. Okay, well, I think the subject material... Oh, you need to fix something? Alright, well, I think the subject material of this particular stream is over with. I don't think most people are really interested about my experience with, like, Southern Israelite, so... I'll end this, and then maybe I'll start up another stream as soon as Beans gets the Realms thing going. So it's been fun, y'all. See you around.